Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
Feels like work. Shooting the shit for 2 hours, drinking beer and talking beer. What a wonderful experience.
Can we not have the barf bucket near my mixing board?
I think everybody could read the book.
I knew you were going to use this book as an excuse to quit doing this show.
Mrs. Bub, if you want, I can mail you the Bub Timer.
Yeah, Newcastle, especially in the can. Have you ever had it in the can? No, I have not had it in the can.
Notice I closed my eyes and I concentrated really hard.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the program. We're back in studio with the Dan. We got the Dan with us. Second time in studio. I forget what we ended up naming the studio. JP doesn't remember either.
It was Studio Balls. I don't remember at all.
Something to do with D's.
Yeah,
double
probably.
D's and just Studio D.
Has he ever been to the same studio twice?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I think so. He's inaugurated every studio.
Oh, I remember that part.
That we've ever done. That's and then, yeah, he's been multiple times to each studio, I think. It's going to be a great show because we have Dan Gordon and Dr. Charlie Bamforth. I'm sick, and Bevo's high on prescription medication.
Right. It's amazing.
So I'm feeling like this is going to be our best The Dan appearance ever.
I get a lot of airtime.
Yeah, exactly. Dan, you're running the show tonight.
Right.
I almost just called in sick and just you were going to sit in this chair.
Well, I'm unprepared. Caller one, please.
You're ready to go. Right? Yeah. Dan Gordon, of course, of the Gordon Biersch Brewing Company, one of our favorite guests, and Dr. Charles Bamforth from the UC Davis Brewing something or other program. It has everything with Dr. Bamforth has a really long name. I can never remember them.
Right. Can we get rid of the doctor thing straight away?
Right away?
Charlie.
You don't like being called Dr. Bamforth?
No, not really, no.
Really?
Charles or Charlie. Well, my mother's around Charles, but otherwise it's Charlie.
It's Charlie.
Yes.
Is it because you don't feel like you're a real doctor?
No, I am. And in fact, I got 3 of them. So if you're really going to call me doctor, you got to call me doctor. But I just prefer you call me Charlie.
Yeah, okay. I can do that because I'm really intimidated by all of your brain power anyway, with your 3 doctorates.
You and your learning.
Yeah, you and your learnedness.
Or as my wife's father used to say, educated to the height of ignorance.
Can you get another one? Who's on Earth is going to be able to test you on anything?
Well, I don't know.
After 3 doctors.
Please don't, because I'll only show my ignorance. But no, I think I'm okay now. I'm maxed out.
You're maxed out.
Yeah.
What are your 3 doctorates in?
PhD from the University of Hull. I had to do research for that. DSc from Hull, which is where you put all your research papers together and somebody judges it.
Okay.
And then they gave me one at Heriot Watt in Edinburgh. They just said, "You're a nice guy."
Well, once you get 2,
have a doctorate.
Yeah, like Snoop Dogg. He's got a bunch
and they give you
it's a BOGO.
Yeah, they give you a nice sort of light blue, turquoisey sort of gown, and you bow and scrape. And,
well, that's good in any season, really.
Yeah, I look good in it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I look really good.
And you didn't have to go into debt for that one.
No, I didn't. He threw it at me.
Did you have to pay for college? You went to college in Europe, right?
No. In England in those days, I went up in 1970, and it was all state paid.
That's amazing.
So in fact, they also gave me a grant. I think it was something like £550.
Wow.
And I sort of saved some money out of that as well.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Okay.
Dan Gordon was still in short pants at that
point. Dan, you did have to pay for your education.
Actually, my graduate program at Weinstefan Technical University of Munich was courtesy of the German government.
Really?
Nice. Yeah.
So it was a scholarship.
Well, everybody that went there his tuition was free if you got in. The trick was staying in.
I see.
Yeah.
So even as a non-citizen, because
wow, I was shocked. I expected to get a bill any day while I was there, and nothing came.
But you had to go to university before that too, right?
Yeah, but the beautiful thing at Berkeley, go Bears. $235 a quarter when I went to Cal.
Wow.
They didn't call it tuition; they call it an administrative fee. If you add it up, $700 a year, right? Mm-hmm. Times 4, $2,800. That was the cost of my nearly 9 years of college.
Wow.
Other than living costs, of course.
The times they have changed.
They really have.
That's amazing. Good for you. See, and you got to both of you get out of university and not be saddled with debt.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I actually had a profit after my undergraduate education.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, I was doing some gigs on the side.
How did you pay for living in Germany when you went to school there?
My wife. Mostly,
at the time, she was supporting you.
It's a good way to go.
I knew you were a smart guy. You're like,
never mind going to Berkeley. You had a wife that's supporting you.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think she got a PhD in being awesome.
That's right.
Kate pays for me pretty much too, so
sure, yeah.
I'm on the same program.
Yeah, you and me both. Kate pays for me too.
All right, well, I do want to thank our sponsor, More Beer, who's been with us longer than Dan's been with us. Even they've been supporting the show since day one. You can go over to morebeer.com and check it out. They're just great people that have been bringing you this program since 2005. So go over to morebeer.com and do your homebrew shopping. And you'll get your packages fast.
You will. Very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
They're good at that. Fast and fresh. I'm making up taglines for them right now.
Sounds like it.
More beer. Fast and fresh.
Or something.
Yeah. So thanks to them. Let me get through a couple of announcements for you. SF Beer Week is upon us, next week anyway. And we're excited about it. Doing a couple of events here at the Hop Grenade. On next Monday's show, we're doing a Hopocalypse release from Drake's Brewing Company.
Nice.
Drake's is going to be on the program, and we're going to be serving 4 different, I think it's 4 different editions of their Hopocalypse.
Oh, great.
And talking to the brewer, who we've never had on the show, John Galooly.
Oh, great.
Galooly.
He's a great guy.
Say that fast.
That fast.
Galooly.
Yeah, he's fun.
Good job.
He's fun to talk to. He'll be great.
Yeah. So
Ask John about durian.
Oh. I tasted durian for the first time a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
It's not as bad as everybody says.
It varies, from what I understand. I had it once and it was the most disgusting thing.
Yeah.
Almost I've ever eaten, but I've talked to other people where it's very rose petally and very whatever. Mine was very butterscotch and garlicky. That's
nasty. What it tastes. I would say butterscotch. Dan, you'll eat anything. Do you?
No,
like?
I don't do durian.
You don't. Yeah.
No, and it's a genetic programming thing. Either you can or you can't.
There's
no gray area there.
Yeah.
It's part of I hazed John. That was and his entire team.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they came to San Jose, and I took him out to my favorite Vietnamese restaurant.
As you do.
It's a rite of passage to try durian ice cream.
Oh, yeah. That sounds bad.
It's rough.
Why?
It's fun. I video it, too, every time. Whoever comes with me.
Yeah. You're like, hang on a second while I get out the camera.
Yeah, I do it every time. New employees. Get the durian ice cream.
Why were they at the brewery? Just checking it out? Because it's high tech and...
You got to eat.
Yeah. No, I mean, why did all of Drake's go?
Everyone likes to come by.
To see the spaceship.
Yeah, the owners of Drake's are good friends of mine.
Okay.
And they, too, have had to...
John and...
I
really like John.
Yeah.
He's one of my...
John and Roy, both.
I don't know Roy. I only know John. But John's one of my idols in the industry because I feel like he's a smart guy. He's done good things for beer. I really like talking to him about beer. I got to get him on the show, too.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll come out with
we'll get him to come out.
Galooly.
It's a long drive for him.
Are you saying he's old?
No, I'm just saying getting John out of Berkeley.
I
It's like
see.
you got to pull teeth.
I thought maybe he doesn't like driving at night anymore or something like that.
No, he's fine with nighttime.
Okay. Have you been to their new place, the Drake's
No,
dealership?
I haven't. San Leandro's a far, far place away from San Jose.
Yeah. You either stay in San Jose or fly somewhere, I imagine.
Yes.
You don't drive out
Preferably
of it.
someplace with really good kimchi.
Right. Yeah. Charlie, on the other hand, he just stays in Davis.
I don't get out much.
No.
Because I'm shy.
Don't you get to travel around speaking all the time, Charlie?
I do. And now this is fancy. I'm the president of the Institute of Brewing and Distilling, so that means I go to the UK a great deal. And meetings in all sorts of exotic places. We were in Mozambique last year. We'll be in Sydney, Australia in March.
Really?
Yeah, so we get around, so that's nice.
But you're going someplace really unique in Asia, too. I thought Vietnam and I was going to carry your bags.
Yeah. I do go to some
just to go, Dan? You would have carried his bags just to be...
I would have. Well, we have a great time together, no matter where we are.
Absolutely.
Sure. Why did you go to Mozambique? Like, why choose that location?
Because the Institute of Brewing and Distilling, we have sections all over, and one of the biggest is Africa.
Really?
And they rotate the meetings. And this last time it was in Mozambique, in Maputo. And it was amazing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And, we all have a lot of fun. It's all the same people show up, all the same places. And where are we now? Well, we're in Mozambique.
How's the beer in Mozambique?
Some of it was excellent.
Really?
Yeah. And indeed, they had a local beer competition. In the African section, they had this beer competition. And the local brewer won most of it.
Really?
Well, of course they would do. Because,
what's the style? Was it different craft beers? Or?
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. But we're talking about the bigger brewers now. The South African breweries and the various African breweries, the Heinekens and the
lagers mostly.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
But, like in South Africa, Southern Africa, and well, indeed Africa generally, just like the rest of the world, there's a lot of interesting craft brews.
Yeah, I bet.
And some of them are good, and
some
of them,
and some of them are there.
Some of them,
for you.
There's always scope for education.
Can you imagine giving Charlie a beer in your brewery? If I had a brewery, I would never invite you. I would never give you a beer. I'd be so worried.
Well, no reason, because I'm a nice guy.
You are nice,
but well, the worst thing is you're on stage and you're drinking all these things facing the audience.
Right. So
and you go, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
I can't spit it out. I can't pour it away.
No.
You can't swallow
it. Yeah. What am I going to do?
I'm guessing you take some acting classes is what
Something
you do.
like that.
And you just wipe it off your face.
And but some of them, but that applies everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You really do get some excellent beers in some places and some not so good.
We're going to talk more about this because there's breweries popping up all the time, and I want to find out from the two of you what you think about quality and quality control and how craft beer is going.
It sounds like Charlie's been to the Hop Grenade before.
We serve nothing but good beer here. All right.
I'm a virgin here today. This is the first time.
Oh, you haven't been to our place?
I've been to studios elsewhere.
Yeah.
In fact, the last time some guy came in off the street and ate all the sandwiches.
That's right.
But,
so you've been to our Martinez studio, and I think you were at my home studio.
The one with the Harley Davidson inside.
Where
I realized you weren't married.
I finally sold it, Charlie. You'll be happy to know. It's not on my porch.
The house or the bike?
The bike. I did move houses, but I got rid of the bike.
Let's be clear, it was a
That's
Yamaha.
What an English lady will do for you.
Yeah, it was. I never correct him on that because it's the only good part that makes me look good is that it was a Harley Davidson.
It was a Yamaha.
It was a Yamaha Bronco.
Can we impress the rest of the listeners?
Yes.
How about your beautiful new all-electric BMW?
I don't like to talk about that because people think it's like I'm flashy now. Like
that's not flashy. That's like
It's economical.
It's risky too.
It's economical.
85 miles.
It used to be flashy until he curbed the wheels the other day.
I did. I scratched my wheels. Dan has electric parking at the brewery. You're the first brewery I've been to in California that I've been able to plug in at.
We're very environmentally conscious down in San Jose.
You are. I was excited about that because by the time I got to San Jose, I only had 20 miles left. So I was thinking I'd have to drive around looking for a place to plug in. Yeah, I pull up at events now in the Beamer, and everyone just goes, "Oh, I thought the Brewing Network wasn't doing well."
Yeah.
Oh,
that's pretty much what I said when I saw it.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh,
right.
Hey."
Yeah, it's a very cost-effective solution.
Listen, I'm telling you, here's the deal: you date a girl with more money than you. That's how you get nice things.
I think you get $7,500 from the feds too.
I got a bunch of money back. Plus, it's a lease. It's cheap. It's nothing.
They pay you.
They practically paid me.
It comes out to that
to
when you look at the monthly.
Yeah. I got to turn it in a year.
Yeah, that's good.
With scratched up wheels now.
Yeah.
Learn how to park.
What do you drive, Charlie? BMW? Mercedes?
I'm not actually sure.
Aston Martin?
Honda Civic. How about that? Is that good? When I first came to this country, I drove a Ford Festiva.
Oh!
Yeah.
Wow.
I've had a Festiva or two in my day.
You know, I have this thing that the bigger the car, the fancier the car, the smaller is your personal. Anyway, so Ford Festiva.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Doc will show up in a little while. He drives a Hummer.
Yeah.
So
I saw the Hummer parked over there.
You saw it already? Yeah.
It was a big yellow thing, right?
No,
His
that
is
one's
silver.
Yeah, his isn't quite that flashy. All right, so come join us next Monday. We'll have Drake's in here. On Tuesday, we're doing a special event, and there's actually going to be a show out of it. It's an idea I've had for a show for quite some time. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it, called the Brewers Roundtable, where instead of us sitting around bullshitting, it's all brewers around the table, and I give them a couple different topics, and then it's kind of like The View for brewers, if you will. Is that a good analogy, JP?
I think so. I don't know. Are they going to be catty?
Well, yes, I hope so. Here's what we're going to have: Society Brewing Company in here, Sante Adarius is going to be in here, Monkish is going to be here, and Highland Park, and that's all happening on Tuesday. They're each going to bring, I think, 2 beers. So I don't know. You do the math.
I can't.
That's 8 beers.
Thank you. As 8 beers on tap from these different breweries as part of our SF Beer Week Brewers Roundtable. We also have Sour Saturday.
Okay, nice.
On the 23rd, I think that is. So we're going to do all 21 taps of sour beers. You probably lost your invite in the mail, Dan.
I did. It was probably because I'm dedicated my whole life to producing beers that aren't sour.
I know. I would. You
Work
would
really, really hard.
I know you would disown me if I even sent you an invite to Sour Saturday.
Yes.
All of our tap lines, which is going to require a lot of cleaning of the tap lines afterward.
Time to replace them.
Yeah, even replacing maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's not my job, so I don't care. Someone's got to do it.
Right.
So we got a lot happening. You can go to our website, thehopgrenade.com, and check it out. We're participating in SF Beer Week, and we're really excited about it. All right, you can support the BN by becoming a donor. Just hit the donate button on the homepage. You can buy swag. That's a good way to help us out. Visiting our sponsors is a great way to help us out. You should help us out, is basically what I'm saying. Get all these updates and more over on Twitter and
Facebook.
That one. Send feedback to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. And send I don't even know where to send your show ideas now. Should I announce that we have a new producer?
Sure, if you want to.
Is it announcement ready? There's a bunch of people who had emailed me about being the producer, and I haven't let them down yet. But
maybe you should let them down first and then announce it next week.
Nah, I don't owe them anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, common courtesy's out the window. Who cares?
All right.
Okay.
Your new producer is none other than our very own Bevo.
Yay!
Yeah. Bevo's our new producer, and here's why. I realized, all these people are writing to me. I had announced, hey, we have a job opening here. We need a new producer for the session. And I realized that I forgot to mention that it's not a full-time job, and it barely pays any money. So these people are writing to me going, I would like to quit my current job and come work for the BN. and I was like, oh, man, these people think it's like a real gig.
Yeah.
It would be as a second gig, but not as your
It would be a
gig.
great second gig. But then the other thing is that I realized, the producer role is really just a bunch of emails and logistics and communicating with our guests and make sure that they get... The reason you two didn't get any communication is because we're in between producers, is what's happening. And so I asked Bevo, will you do this? Because I think it just fits within everything else you do here at the BN anyway. No. And she basically said, no, I'm terrified to become the producer. Because all I've ever done is yell at our producers. I just, because they fuck up.
Yeah.
And I yell at them for it.
Yeah.
Dan, you know what that's like. I mean, sometimes you got to...
If you haven't made your employees cry, you haven't done a good job.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
But really, the screw-up parts, I don't think Bevo's going to do. Because I'm not giving her that many responsibilities, essentially.
Right.
I believe Newton's law equal and opposite force comes into play with Bevo.
I think you're right.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to bully her at all.
No, not at all. Although I did tell her today that I'm not a fan of her shirt today. I feel like it doesn't suit her figure.
Yeah, but that's a bully in another way.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's not job-related bullying. That's just body shaming.
I wasn't body shaming. I was trying to help her not be frumpy.
As the new producer, she has an image to
scoring bonus
upkeep.
points right now, aren't you?
But she agreed. I mean,
I'm really happy with the life decisions I've made in the last couple of years.
Stick around and you'll be running the whole show.
I'm now. Do you realize, Bevo, that I'm now responsible for the entirety of your career? Like your whole career is now with the BN.
No, I
and
definitely
the
think
Hopker
about
name.
that.
And
I've definitely thought about it.
are you worried?
By the way, your resume is looking good.
Yeah.
I'll give you your changes back later.
Don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And I won't yell at you,
better.
unless you don't take care of our guests. That's all you have to do is take care of our guests, which she's very good at, right, Dan?
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's polite. She's a much better face to be greeted than mine, when you come into the Hibernate.
Your turnaround here is miraculous.
Isn't that fast, right?
Just dial it in right level.
I'm good at that.
And then accelerate as you go to the end.
Yes. So I guess I could say send your show ideas to bevo@thebrewingnetwork.com. That's where your show ideas go now. They no longer go to Scott. They go to bevo@thebrewingnetwork.com, and she will be doing all of the things.
Let's face it, they never really went to Scott anyway. They just came to feedback at thebrewingnetwork.com.
Right. All right, do we have a Twitter game?
We sure do.
Twitter game is brought to you today by the Labruski Cruise. We are going on the Labruski Cruise, and you can too. Just click the Labruski Cruise image on the homepage. It's 4 nights and 5 days at sea with a bunch of bands, with the Brewing Network, and lots of craft beer. So check it out. What's our Twitter game?
Well, everybody knows, Justin, that you've been in a funk lately. You've kind of been down about maybe your life, maybe the direction the Brewing Network's going, maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Maybe you having a flare up downstairs. I don't know.
Sure.
I can't. But I want to know what everybody thinks that you can do to get your groove back.
Oh, no.
You need your groove back, baby.
This is going to be terrible.
So how can Justin get his groove back?
You mean
I
aside?
literally cannot wait for these answers.
You mean aside from all the drinking and smoking and drugs I've been doing?
Yeah, yeah. Besides, like putting 2 barrels in your face and pulling the trigger with your toes. How can you? How can we get the old Jay back, where he had the broken down Yamaha on the front porch and didn't drive a BMW?
Maybe Chad just needs to move back in.
Do you think that I'm the guy who can't handle success?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Yeah. You're afraid to succeed.
So I have to sabotage it all?
Yeah.
I got to go back to my shrink.
You should go back to your shrink.
Now we know why my shrink gave me free therapy for a year. See, Charlie, my shrink, I was like a study for him. I tried to quit, and he was like, "Is it money?" And I was like, "Well, sort of." And he's like, "I will do this for free."
He definitely wrote at least one paper on you, possibly two.
He got his PhD, I think, off of me.
Really?
Yeah.
One-off. Original research.
Yeah, his original research on this small brain.
I think he's pitching a sitcom right now in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Didn't he say you were fixed? Or was that just not giving you free therapy anymore?
No, he agreed that I could stop after the year because I was feeling like I didn't need to go anymore.
Yeah, which is very clearly the exact opposite of what you should have been thinking.
And he said, I think you'll be okay. Like he said, I don't think you're going to go off yourself, so it's probably fine.
Yeah, but is that the definition of okay?
Right. It's a low bar.
Yeah, you'll still exist after tomorrow, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I'm not saying he was the best or most ethical therapist in the world.
Oh, man. How much was he charging you? Because, hey, you got ripped off.
Free.
Got ripped off.
That's true.
All right, so how does Justin get his groove back?
Yeah.
That's our Twitter game.
We're trying to help you, baby.
I like it. All right, well, we'll see what we get. All right, how about some feedback? Should we do that?
Yep.
Feedback's brought to you today by our good friend John over at the Beer Law Center. He protects my trademark, and he can help protect yours, too. Plus, he does filings like TTB stuff and all that. Like he's the guy. At thebeerlawcenter.com. Go check it out. John's a good dude. All right, Brandon writes in. This is titled, Come On, Man. Hey, guys. Love you. Love the show, but I have to call bullshit. This is about last week's show. Last week was a Women in Brewing show, so everybody knows. He says, you spend the first part of the show joking about raping Bevo on the cruise. It wasn't about that.
It was not that at all.
No, it was that when I sleep, sometimes I'm grabby.
We call it night rape, but it's really just touching. I like that we have a name for it. And I'm speaking from somebody else's perspective because I've never shared a bed with Justin.
True. Probably because I night rape.
And he's on her list, so it's fine.
No, you're not on my list.
Bevo, we know.
We all agree.
We all know I'm on your list. I asked if I was on her list if she were allowed to stray from her marriage.
Which I'm not.
Am I on the list? And we all agreed I'm on the list.
Yeah, we did.
I'm clearly.
It was unanimous.
I'm clearly number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, but no lower than 10.
Yes.
No lower than
Definitely
10.
not
after
lower
that
than
promotion, I think it's pretty much sure thing.
I think so too. Thank you, Tasty.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we're talking about
I know
this
how this
again.
corporate shit works.
Yeah. So he says we spend the first show talking about that, and then 15 minutes, then about 15 minutes later, acting like we're so disapproving of a beer called Hoppy Ending and their mildly suggestive cartoon label. Come on, man. If those chicks had not been in the studio, you would have thought it was a funny beer name and wouldn't have thought anything about it. I do believe I mentioned that I thought it was a funny beer name, but once I saw the logo, I thought it was in poor taste.
Which is not mildly suggestive at all.
It was not mildly suggestive.
Pretty much insinuating, describing an event.
I mean, they did everything but put an Asian chick on the logo.
You're right.
Like it's so.
Yeah.
However, I see what you're saying, but with Bevo, it's different. Like,
well, when you're joking around with friends, which is what we do on the show, but you just happen to be essentially eavesdropping into a conversation or something like that.
Right. That's
mind your own business.
Putting a label on a shelf for all the world to see.
Right. You joke with your friends in a different way than if you own your own business. That you would put you would show that's your front face.
Right.
Is this terribly suggestive and quite frankly ham-handed label and naming scheme? Be creative.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But
by the
look
way,
at all
anybody-
this airtime they're getting from it
I
being
know.
edgy.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Right. I think what we were saying, though, too, is like someone threw a brick through their window. At
Yeah,
the
their
brewery.
window
There
got
was
smashed.
There was a whole thing around it.
It's all good.
Yeah. But any publicity is, you know, how
Names
much
make news.
Yeah. How much is a window compared to that advertising campaign they would have had to buy?
On the BN?
Priceless.
Pretty cheap.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. There's more about last week's show.
There sure is. Yeah.
Here's one from Tim. It says, "Good day. I'm frustrated or confused or a little of both. I loved the Pink Boots interview. It was one of the best since Cantillon. But then you followed up with the Grisette Nouveau interview. And this is the first interview ever that you've done, which I was hoping would end. To me, even the brewcasters sounded bored with it. Here we have an organization that says they're all about being inclusive, but there are only 3 of them in it. Well, they were new.
That's not because they're selective.
Yeah, no one wants to join.
Yeah.
And they welcome women and transgender people into their group, but then, quote, I guess it's okay if a man wants to join. I think that was a joke.
I think that was a joke.
I think they were joking.
Yeah.
Then they move to the topic of diversity, yet limit their competition to only 2 styles. What's diverse about that?
Come on. They're talking about gender diversity and racial diversity, but not beer styles,
Because
bro.
they didn't allow the whole BJCP.
Right.
You are cautious.
Yeah.
They're putting on their first competition. Let them start small. It's fun.
Once again, come down here for the 21
Yeah.
sour beers that will be on sale.
Yeah.
You want diversity.
Right.
Anyhow, then they talk about wanting to be inclusive and people entering their competition, but made the trophy pink to discourage men from entering. I don't think that they said that.
And if they did, again, it was probably a joke. I mean, they were trying to have fun with their own little, their little crew there. They got a whole little world they're building up, and I think that they, they know that it's a little bit, different from what's going on. I think they were just trying to poke fun at it.
I think so too. He says, I guess I was just disappointed because I was looking forward to hearing about this style Grisette. So Grisette is actually a beer style.
Right.
Yeah.
Charlie, do you know what a Grisette is?
Never heard of it.
Really? Come on.
Well, I've got a daughter doing a thesis on women in brewing.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So whether
she
she's
doesn't know what a grisette is either.
No, but if she knows what it is, then I'll, But wasn't my idea, by the way. She decided this thesis.
She's going up for a veterinary license.
How long could it really be, this thesis of hers?
Oh, a lot. She's interviewed lots and lots of people all over the place.
Is that right?
And, and
I like it.
And it's interesting. And there's all shades of opinion.
Sure.
And there are some of the women are quite sort of forceful in their opinions. And some, say it's not really a man's world. It's just as equal.
When I started this show, I would go talk to female brewers, and I wanted to do shows about women in brewing, and they didn't want to do it. They felt like, I don't want to. I'm just a brewer. I don't want to focus on being a woman in brewing. Now that's kind of changed. Actually, I think people want to talk about it more. But in the beginning, no one wanted to talk about it. They said, if you want to have me on as a guest to talk about beer, that's fine. Right. But they wouldn't allow me to focus on women in beer.
Yeah, and I think Emily's been discovering a bit of that as well.
Oh yeah.
I wonder a little bit about.
Sorry.
I just wonder a little bit about that. If it's a generational thing. The girls we had in last week were quite young.
Younger,
And
we're talking about over
I'm not
time.
trying to be rude, but
the other
that this generation tends to be
all me. Let's talk about me.
I'm special.
Yeah.
Well, none of them were brewers either.
That's true.
That's true.
Well, even
home brewers. That's my observation
Yeah.
as well. Which, years ago, I'd only talked to brewers because there weren't that many really women in beer, like sales and serving and all that. Because craft beer is just getting going here.
Sure.
5 years ago it was a lot different. 5 years ago, I would talk to women brewers, and I knew they would not want to, be treated any different than anybody else in the brewery.
Yeah.
You hit on them equally, Tasty.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Anyway, a grisette is some sort of Belgian ale. Is all I know.
It's kind of a subset of a saison.
It's like not a farmhouse, but a miner's.
It must be French Belgian as well, not Flemish Belgian as well.
Yeah.
Loon.
See, you do know.
There's no in
Of course
the
you
word,
know.
so it has to be French.
All right, a couple more bits of email, then we'll get to a break here. This one's about, we were talking about fermenting under pressure last week, Tasty, if you remember. Laura writes in, good evening. If this feedback reaches you in time, you should quickly revisit the fermenting under pressure topic. She wants to say that you really, really should be using a foam control agent. Otherwise, the Krausen will clog up the pressure relief valve. A lager will kreuzen at ale temps. It's no fun. I don't know what that means, but been there, done that, she says. So we were talking about fermenting in a keg in order to ferment under pressure, and she's saying use a foam control agent.
So that the kreuzen doesn't get into the pressure relief valve.
Yeah.
And if it did, then of course it'd be pushed up in there.
Yeah.
And then clog it up, and then pretty soon exploding tank syndrome.
Now, Dan ferments under pressure. He caps the tanks at
we
the...
don't do primary fermentation under pressure.
It's not primary?
No, it's secondary. It's bunging. It's very traditional, slow, cold aging.
Okay.
But the only breweries I know, and Charlie, me, that do high temperature forced and pressurized fermentation were the cheap-ass beers in Europe.
And what was the
accelerates
point?
process.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I mean, the one that springs to mind is a well-known beer in Australia, and they ferment under pressure. That's to suppress esters, keep the fruitiness down.
Okay.
It's not a good thing.
No?
You don't strive to do this.
Yeah, this is what people
it's not
brought
something
it up for, is
desirable.
that they thought it was a desirable thing that we should be doing.
No, not primary fermentation. That's just in order to keep it. And usually the opposite occurs when you go under pressure. You suppress the foaming and the kreuzen from squeezing out the top.
And
it eliminates gushing, but it's a fast, cheap way of getting more capacity.
Okay. Interesting. So we shouldn't be doing it.
No, don't.
Even with ale yeast, you're talking about just talking
it
lager?
doesn't really matter. You're just going to go higher and faster. It's like, just think of it as a musical band, where you're increasing the volume to the point where you can't hear anything that's going on.
Okay.
That's what you're doing in the equivalent of primary fermentation. Now, lagering, the slow aging process at cold temperatures under pressure allows for natural carbonation to occur. So
I understand that part.
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
common.
Okay.
That's good.
Capping.
Yeah.
Primary, not good.
Not good. Simple enough. All right. Thanks for writing in, Laura. Here's a question about a shorter boil. And now this is from when we had Chris Graham on the show talking about speeding up our brew day a little bit for family men who still want to homebrew, or women. Of course. Hello, beer overlords. Please note that I've only recently begun listening to your podcast. Please also note that the manner in which I greet you will become more hostile and demeaning the more I glean from your vast depths of sweet, sweet knowledge and take it for myself. That's true. That's usually what happens. People start to dislike us.
Find out what a fakes we are.
He says, I will gladly serve in your army if you can answer me this. Can you shorten your boil to 30 minutes if you, quote, cheat the system for your bittering hops? Goes on to say, let's see. In a relatively recent podcast, when discussing this technique with Chris Graham, you mentioned the risk of muddling or confusing flavors of the bittering hops if you reduce the overall boil to save time. I'm curious if this is the main concern, if there's also worry about boiling off volatiles. If hop utilization and controlling the bittering profile is what is key, could an idea by Tasty, he thinks it was Tasty, suggested during your hops, I don't know, to add more.
Talk on hops.
I don't want to read his whole email because it's boring me to death. But what can we do a 30-minute boil or not?
No.
Not without risking, DMS.
So we do need to boil off these volatiles.
Boiling agents. Yeah, it's pretty much been determined. You got to boil to dry these things off and solidify these proteins and neutralize these aminos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And DMS is a malt-derived compound. It's not hop-related at all.
And it has what to do with hops other than the time that's on the hops. So, for instance, 30-minute boil, the only addition you can do is a 30-minute addition.
Okay.
Rather than
if you got a shorter boil 30 minutes, the DMS precursor is not going to break down as much.
Okay.
And it's going to be left over, and then if you leave the hot wort for a while, you're going to get a lot of DMS.
Got it.
And driving off volatilizing all the nasty flavors is critical. So the bottom line is suck it and see and see what the effect is.
Sure.
But I would predict it's not a good idea if the recipe demands a 1 hour boil.
And how did we come up with the 60 minutes, Charlie? Just through years of doing just that, trying different times?
I mean, it's like still so much in brewing. Most of it we've got a good idea on the science, but there's still some things we don't understand. But for boiling, we do understand. And if you don't have a good, vigorous, turbulent boil, you just have a simmer, and it's like I say in class, rather than a ba-dum, 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 then, you get a whole different characteristic.
Interesting. So this is another thing homebrewers like to debate about is, can it just simmer or does it have to be vigorous?
It's got to be
most
turbulent.
brewers say turbulent, yeah.
Well, I got a long story about that. It's all to do with a well-known brewing company in Southern California. And they actually ended up buying a brand new brewery because I was so rude about the beer before.
Really? No kidding?
They're doing very well, and I won't name the name of the brewer, but his name's Brynildson.
So that's funny that you say that because Matt is one of the guys who has told me, no, it needs to be turbulent and vigorous. Yeah. Are you saying that there was a time that he didn't follow that?
No.
Okay.
There was a time when, and don't get me wrong, I mean, David's a good friend.
Yeah,
David asked me to go down. And it's a well-known story, this. And David asked me to go down and said, what do you think of the beer? I said, it smells of halitosis. It's probably the worst beer I've ever tasted.
Wow.
And that's the days when they brewed in the corner of the vineyard. And then about a month later, I told him he had to get decent boil. He told me he'd bought the brewery in San Luis Obispo, in Paso Robles.
Yeah.
And with a decent boiling system. But then he imported Matt Brynildson. So it's a combination of things. Great brewer.
Yeah.
And also, decent equipment.
A decent equipment, yeah.
So he's got my photograph in his office.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, now they're one of the best breweries in the world, in my opinion.
And everything is down to me.
Yeah.
I don't mean that.
But if someone else said it, I wouldn't correct them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so there's your answer. Don't shorten your boil.
I wonder how many times we're going to have to answer the same questions. Yeah. It's like every new wave of homebrewers, they want to reinvent the wheel. And I mean, I did this when I was starting. And it's like this is all standard shit.
Yeah,
just don't worry about it.
Right. But frankly, it's probably why we're still in business.
Right.
Well,
that's true. It's like...
If there are all new questions, I wouldn't even come in here.
Read the thing, get over it.
Yeah.
Come on, softballs, that's what I'm here for.
All right, Brian writes in, this is about me and Belgian beer. I've been listening to the session since the very first Charlie Papazian show. And if I had $5 for every time Justin has said, I don't normally like Belgian beer, but I like this one, I could have made a sizable donation to the Lunch Meat fundraiser. When will he just admit that he likes Belgian beer? Because there's nothing wrong with that, he says. Signed, anxiously prepping for Skewmageddon, Brian. I guess that's probably true.
I mean, how many Belgian beers would you say you've said, I kind of like this one?
I don't know.
Over 10?
Where's Cantillon?
Sometimes I'm lying, though, too. Like, sometimes the guest is on the show, and it's hard for me to say, like,
like every society beer.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I've been lying about society.
Right.
No, but I can't name it because it's just, it sucks to be on this show sometimes because we do want to be honest, right? We owe a certain amount of honesty to our listeners, but we also, I don't want to like put anybody out of business.
Well, we also are fishing for sponsorships from these breweries, so of course, why would we be mean to them, right?
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, you pay me enough, I'll say all the nice things about your beer.
See, after the show, that's when we sit the brewer down and be like, so this was just an example of how good I can be at sales.
Yeah,
for you.
Because your beer's shit.
Right, but have you had it?
Yeah. Did you hear me talk about it on this show?
I noticed you've been drinking something else.
I don't know. I don't generally like super estery Belgian-y beer.
Yeah.
Phenolic, that's what it is. That's what I don't like. Thank you, Tasty. See, that's why we keep him around.
So you can mutter corrections?
He wakes up, he corrects me, he goes back to bed. He's the perfect host for me. Like, he never stomps on my shit.
Nope, I let you finish.
He's Ed McMahon.
You're my Ed McMahon.
Yes, sir.
Well, he's not funnier than you.
Yeah. It's true, too. That's why I love him so much. He doesn't...
prop you up.
You just make me look good, Tasty. Yeah. Even when you make me look bad,
I
you make
figure
me
the
look
show's
good.
good when you look good.
That's true.
Is that clear thinking? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. Anyhow, I don't know.
Whatever. What are you going to do?
I like sour Belgian beer, just like Dan does.
Yeah.
All I drink every morning. Every morning when I wake up.
Charlie, you don't like sour beer either, do you?
It depends. If I got about a thimbleful and I've got a slice of cheese, then
okay, yeah.
I did go to a very well-known producer of sour beer in Northern California, and I did say to him, Vinny, is this the beer that's described as being like a wet dog urinating in a telephone booth? And he said, yeah. We really like that one.
That's it. He was proud of that.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And that is fine, because there are a lot of people like these beers.
Yes.
And like I'm fond of saying, we should never be like wine people and saying this is good, this is bad.
Yeah.
And pontificating because Dan Gordon says something is good or Charlie Bamforth says anything good. That's what we think.
Yeah.
And what you think doesn't necessarily have to agree with us.
Sure.
So, no, I don't mind a little bit of sour beer as long as I'm sharing a bottle with about 34, 50 other people,
It's a good description. A thimbleful with some cheese, with some stinky cheese. Cause then,
and it works marriage in heaven.
Yeah.
Humboldt Fog works very well.
Great cheese. Yeah, and it'll wipe it right off your palate, right? Yeah. It's like pouring acid on your tongue, Dan.
They neutralize each other.
It does have a purpose.
When I've served those to people, they sort of put them in their mouth together and they get this orgasmic look on their face.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I've never seen that look. But, yeah.
It's, kind of like having balsamic vinegar on your salad. Yeah. It was meant to be on the salad.
On the salad.
On the salad.
Yeah. There's a place for it.
Yeah. Or like codeine and alcohol. It's the same... right together.
Yeah. It goes so great together. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it weren't for my liver, I would do codeine and alcohol every day, all day.
Codeine and cough syrup, and you just go together. It's easy.
All right. Yvonne writes in one more thing. This is also about last week's Women in Beer show. It's titled "The Man-Hating 5-Gallon Brew Chicks." Yvonne says these girls are so freaking irritating and idiotic.
Aww.
If these pink boots flakes say like one more time, I'm going to throat punch somebody. Diverse for the sake of it will not make the average beer drinker bother. From Yvonne.
All right.
I don't know what any of that means.
No.
I really liked last week's show. In fact, I went home and told Kate the Great that I enjoyed myself on the show.
Oh, wow.
Because it was a different interview, and I felt that they were...
It wasn't because you were surrounded by girls?
It might have been that.
Yeah.
Could have been that.
It probably was that. But
I do have a thing. I do have a thing for chicks.
Right. I don't know if you know this.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I do kind of like chicks. Yeah. All right, let's take a break.
Okay,
and I need to get a little more cider in my glass. We're going to talk cider with Dan Gordon. Did you ever think that was going to happen on this show?
No.
We're
what next?
do that.
American beers?
We are. I'm going to force Dan to talk IPA with us.
Yes.
And,
good. I need someone on my side.
So we're going to take a... let's see if I can get this computer to work. A quick break. When we come back, Charlie Bamforth, Dan Gordon, and we're going to talk about the good stuff. Plus, we're going to play Beer Jeopardy later today. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Marin Brewing Company in Northern California has been making award-winning beers for more than 25 freaking years. Today, I want to tell you about their new 12-ounce cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale. The good stuff, Mount Tam is bright gold, 5.5% ABV to keep you feeling good, and has been winning awards since 1989. If you're visiting the Bay Area, get your butt out to Marin Brewing Company. They pour tasty beers and serve great food every day until midnight. Come in for a tour, stay for the food, and pick up a 6-pack of cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale to enjoy at home, camping, biking, or whatever the hell you do. Owner Brendan Moylan has this to say about Marin Brewing beers.
It's freaking awesome.
Marin Brewing has won more than 100 gold medals in international competitions. Check out marinbrewing.com for all their award-winning beers, food, and merch. Marin Brewing Company in Larkspur, California. Award-winning taste, refreshing finish. It's freaking awesome.
Beer tasting games that train your palate, a brewery locator, and the brand new interactive beer style guide. These are just a few of the awesome things you'll find on craftbeer.com. The style guide is a beautiful example of technology in beer. Browse beer style families or turn on the automatic beer style finder and explore beer through color, bitterness, ABV, aroma, and flavor. It's really the coolest way to explore every beer style besides having them all in front of you. Go to craftbeer.com and click on Beer Styles to start the guide. Plus, enjoy the rest of craftbeer.com, the Brewers Banter blogs, beer education, how to host a beer tasting, and the invaluable Draft Quality Manual. Tons of great content that makes your beer better. Visit the new craftbeer.com right now and explore the website that brings you all the passion, camaraderie, and creativity of the craft beer community. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer. Ken Grossman of Sierra Nevada Brewing Company says making great beer is hard. Making the same great beer every day is harder. Brewers Publications announces its latest release for breweries of any type and size. Quality Management, an essential guide for brewers by Mary Pelletieri. Proper quality management for small, regional, and national breweries is critical. Whether you are an established business or brand new, learn the best ways to create and manage a quality system in your brewery. This book will guide you in developing a comprehensive program that will grow with your brewery, help ensure quality processes in the brewery, and continue providing great beer for your fans. Quality management for breweries is critical for continued success. This guidebook teaches you to integrate quality management in every level of the operation. It will guide you in developing a comprehensive program to ensure quality processes in your brewery. Quality Management, an essential guide for brewers, now available from Brewers Publications. Learn more at brewerspublications.com.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
The Brewcasters are back.
And it ain't 401 beer.
Whatever.
All right, welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. And don't forget about one of our great new sponsors, Great Fermentations. That's right, a great homebrew shop, new sponsor of ours, Great Fermentations. They have the largest catalog of Blickman products on the web. They provide same-day shipping for some of the main Blickman items, and a lot of other vendors can take up to 3 weeks to get the Blickman stuff to you. But same-day shipping at Great Fermentations. Staff is the best trained on Blickman products, and they have top-notch customer service. So don't forget to go over to greatfermentations.com and check them out, and be good to them, because they're being good to us. All right, so we got Dan Gordon in the studio and Charlie Bamforth hanging out with us. We're going to start this time by talking about cider. Now, I know, Charlie, you didn't sign up for this. It's not why you came to the show. Cider's not. Do you like cider?
First ever time I, as a young lad, went to a bar, I had a cider, and then I had another cider, and then I had another cider.
Yeah.
And then the guy saying, "You sure you want more?"
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I want another one.
Oh.
And I've never drunk cider since.
Wow. Cider is your Jägermeister for most of the millennial generation.
Yeah, so when Dan said, "Try my cider," I said,
Yeah.
Got great Hefeweizen, but
Come on, a minute. You looked at me and said, "Man, I can almost
I
switch over."
It's very good.
Dan, so well, first of all, is it even legal to be a Brit and not like cider? I feel like there's something wrong.
Yeah,
there.
I'm from the northwest of England, where men are men, some of the women are men. My wife's Cornish, so down there, yeah. I mean, back in the day when my father-in-law was a lad. There were ale houses and there were cider houses.
Okay.
And cider was as popular and still is very popular down there.
Yeah.
So the west of England, the West Country particularly, is very strong, scrumpy country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So very popular. But
I've been to I wish I could remember the name, but I can't. I've done a lot of drugs in my life. But there was a great old cidery that I went to in England. A brewer took me there, the Moore Brewing Company. Justin Moore is his name, and he took me there, and it was the ciders were really, they were kind of wild. Some of them had some Brettanomyces in them I could taste. He had some clean ones too. He kind of had the whole spectrum, and the cidery was on an apple orchard. I mean, it was a whole, and it was really great stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing about cider. It's somewhere between wine and beer.
Mm-hmm.
In that it's almost marketed and dispensed like a beer, whereas technologically it's closer to a wine in many ways. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, there was a cider place in Hereford called Bulmer's, and I'll never forget the equivalent of the Crush, and all these farm trucks coming down through the valleys, with apples, and they just tip them in, and, and then they do the thing, and then at the end of the day they blend and they blend and they blend to arrive at some degree of consistency.
Which is far more like wine, like you're saying, the blending.
And of course, there's all the SO2, the sulfur dioxide, that's involved as well.
Okay.
In making ciders as well, but I keep rabbiting on about it, but really I know very little about ciders.
Okay.
So Dan's going to shut me up.
Well, so Dan knows I don't drink cider like I do beer, which is to say, I don't drink it in copious amounts. But I like mixing in a cider to change it up. Sometimes it's good just to clear the palate. Actually, just like I like throwing in a glass of wine here and there to just change it up. But Dan, you got into cider recently.
Yeah, started a cider company. It's called Orem Cider, and actually the brand is called Wild Side.
Wild Side.
Yeah, and the reason we got inspired, basically my background in German brewing, right? Reinheitsgebot, purity law, no additives whatsoever. If you look at the back of the labels of the majority of the commercially available ciders, there's usually 5 ingredients, and I kept asking why. Most of them were made from concentrate, then they had malic acid, sulfites, sodium benzoate quite often, then back sweetened with either concentrated apple juice or sugar in a lot of regards. And it was very discouraging. And I thought, why is that happening? And why aren't there some large-scale alternatives using just fresh-pressed juice? And that's what we did.
More like craft beer.
Yeah, we did a test. We got asked by a large retailer to research it and potentially make it an all-natural cider for them. And I liked it a lot. I started drinking it for about a year during development. I just kept going and going and going. And I got hooked.
Drinking test batches or drinking other people's cider?
Okay. We would do 1,000, 2,000 case test batches.
Really?
Yeah, so we had to drink a lot.
What did you do with all that?
We gave it away primarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cause of research, betterment of mankind, charity groups, whatever.
Cool.
How do the cases translate to barrels?
Cases, let's see, 13.78 cases per barrel.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were doing about 1,000 case batches?
Yeah. And then we ramped it up to 3,000 because I got a little more thirsty. It was started tasting really good.
More research.
But the main thing was, my focal point was to just use fresh pressed juice. So we have tankers come down from the Great Northwest, and where all the apples are grown. I couldn't find apples in California, which I thought was pretty interesting.
That is interesting. We have this huge farmland and
sold out.
It's not that we don't grow them; it's that we don't have them.
It all goes to Martinelli's.
It's all gone.
Okay.
Yeah, so I couldn't get any, and I found this company in Mount Hood, Oregon, called Ryan's Juice, and they had tankers galore. That's what they do.
So they press it,
right,
and then send you down fresh juice in a tanker
that day.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, it's I'm talking fresh pressed. The stuff's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so we receive it at about, they leave in the early a.m. They get to the brewery around 5 or 6 at night.
Okay.
And we just bring it in. We flash pasteurize it. That's one of our tricks to kill any wild bacteria or yeast. Wild yeast or bacteria, I should say.
You have to do that?
Yeah, you'll get tremendous off flavors.
You would, okay. Yeah.
Is that where they would normally add sulfite or something?
Yeah, that's why the sulfites are added, to do that.
So you don't have to add that?
We don't do it that way.
So why wouldn't everyone just flash pasteurize it? It seems easier than adding sulfites.
Well, first and foremost, concentrated apple juice is a lot cheaper.
Okay.
All right, that's the key. And they're importing, majority of that's being imported from either France or China. And if you look at, I won't name anybody like Angry Orchard or Stella or anybody like that.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Yeah, about who's buying Water Ace or something like that. But the concentrates are the most prevalent form and much cheaper to utilize.
Okay.
And then flash pasteurization, it costs a lot of money.
Okay.
Well, sulfites are nothing. The machinery for doing it.
Did you have to buy that machinery to?
Yeah, we had it already. So
because do you do that with your beer too?
We do it for some of the beers that are going to sit around for export and things like that.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. If it's going to sit on a container ship
if
or
ship's
something.
warm, we don't care.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, Dan, but Stella doesn't make a cider; they make a Seadre.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we
totally
could just please back off a little bit and fucking recognize the differentiation?
It really is.
It's really offended me.
Is it nuclear or nuclear? I always thought it was pretty interesting that President Carter, a nuclear engineer, used to say nuclear.
Nuclear.
Yeah.
If anyone would know, he would.
Yeah.
Now, be honest with me. Did you get into cider because you enjoyed the beverage or because it's an emerging, enormous market?
I don't think it's as emerging and enormous. They're just fewer players, so there's a smaller pie and fewer participants, so the slice might be a nice chunk to digest.
Do you anticipate that it will become a big chunk of your production?
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
I just think qualitatively we're a few steps ahead of the...
Yeah.
And you can tell.
So we're drinking it now. It's a very good cider. It's dry?
Very dry. It's around 1.1% apparent extract.
And you don't... Now, back sweetening we've talked about on the program, which is when... it's not inherently a bad thing if you need to get some flavor back into cider, right? If it's back sweetened with juice. Not,
I have no problem if it's still the one ingredient methodology.
But you haven't needed to do that?
No. We actually control fermentation. This is something that, as a lager brewery, we're used to doing, is that we can actually rein it in towards the end just by the cooling curve and slow down the metabolism. And then when you get down to freezing, the metabolism of the yeast will actually stop on this.
Okay.
On using just apple juice.
I see.
Yeah.
So in brewing, in beer, you would never stop fermentation, right? Like you would build it into your recipe so that it ended where you wanted to. But you're saying to halt
we control it. We can control that too.
But would you want to? Wouldn't you just build it into your... In other words, you'd put the sugar in that you want eaten and not more of it.
Yeah, but you want to have some apparent extract. So some beers will just ferment all the way down if you let it rip.
Yeah.
During primary fermentation, you can, there's a certain point we can control it through free nitrogen. That's one of our tricks. I know, Charlie, is that okay to say?
I love it when you talk dirty.
You're going to have to explain that to me.
The amino acid concentration can regulate the yeast's ability to continue to ferment.
Here's why you're confusing me right now, is that I've gotten made fun of on this program because I used to think, like, okay, if you want your beer, I can only do in specific gravity, so forgive me, it's not Plato. But if I want my beer to stop at 10.8, I used to, if it would keep going, like I would measure it at 10.8, but it was still fermenting, I would chill it down.
Yeah, you can do that.
But my beer wasn't very good, and people were saying, if you want it to stop at 10.8, you build your recipe so that it stops at 10.8.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing, yeah.
Yeah, you can, you control the mashing temperature to control the degree of fermentability, of course.
Yeah.
It's like Dan says, there's other things that are going to influence fermentability. It's amino acids that are available and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So it's a complex story. I think the most important thing to say is that, Dan will make a great cider because he's a good brewer.
Yeah, okay.
And there are other types of alcoholic beverage industry which will remain nameless, that it's all a bit of a crapshoot.
I see, yeah.
And I think there are a number of people across the globe that make ciders, and their mentality is more wine than beer, whereas,
Just think about it like a brewer.
Yeah, he thinks like a brewer. He performs like a brewer. He can deliver a consistent, excellent product.
Okay.
'Cause unlike beer wort, there's basically zero free amino nitrogen in apple juice, and so the yeast basically need all of those nutrients put in there in order to get a nice, clean, active, quick fermentation. And so,
is that true, Dan? Do you have to add things so that the yeast is happy?
No, we actually don't add anything. That's one of our.
You don't add any nutrients at all to the cider?
Really?
What about to your yeast pitch?
What kind of yeast?
Maybe you put all the nutrients in there.
Now we're pitching at a pretty low cell count on the yeast, too. We're going, around 3 million cells per milliliter. We have a propagator, which kind of helps us, right? So we're always having extraordinarily vital yeast. And we let it acclimate on the nutrient base. So we give it a couple generations on apple juice after it's been in fermenting beer.
Okay.
So we clean it up that way. And we're using a top fermenting ale yeast, which is pretty damn vital and surprisingly will chew up anything.
Is that normal? Or is there a cider yeast?
Yeah, there's cider yeast.
Okay.
You can go on. Lallemand sells tons of them, and they'll have these special things that are metabolized in a different way, and they can eat up anything, and they can produce different flavor profiles. But I like the ale yeast and the flavor profile because it leaves a very fruity aroma to this, which I think is different. It's not a neutral aroma by any means.
Yeah.
It's very apple forward.
Yeah.
And I think the yeast helps do that. We've actually tried out side by side. We've done 4 or 5 different yeast strains with the same juice extract to see what the flavor profile is, and this one is the classic, White Labs #1 California ale yeast.
Excellent! Wow,
and it works. Yeah, every misnomer that we were told it won't work worked.
Everybody said it's not going to. But Cal Ale is just such an amazing yeast, right? Like it does everything you need.
It's pretty resilient.
But people told you it's not going to make good cider?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't have guessed that, especially not giving it any nutrients.
Yeah.
That's real surprising.
It's also naturally carbonated.
Just like your beer.
Yep.
So you're Germaning up your cider too, aren't you?
There we are. Well, it's not very Belgian-y, it's very Germany.
Is all of the same equipment, your brewery was just ready to make cider?
Well, there's not much to it. You take the fresh pressed juice and you add yeast and put it in the tank. There
Especially
it goes.
if you're buying juice already.
I love being a vintner. It's so easy.
Right. It doesn't go into a kettle. You don't have to.
No.
Really, nothing.
Do you filter it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do filter it.
What about the type of apples, Dan? Because they talk about the different types of apples with different tannic levels.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Is it just one type of apple?
No, there's 4 different types. There's Granny Smith, Fuji, and Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, and it has the balance between each apple has it's got its forte, what it likes to do. Some are the delicious ones are for the sugar content. Fuji's for aroma, and then I think it was the Granny Smith was for the tartness.
Yeah, tartness.
So that's what we're going for, and we target to try to the blend. Also, they sort the apples for us to get around a 13% bricks level. So I can't say original gravity.
Oh, there you go.
Bricks,
Right.
sugar content,
Silly people.
and that enables us to get like this 6.2% alcohol. So this will give you a nice little smile on
I'm
your
getting
face.
there.
Yeah.
It works.
I'm feeling better already, Dan.
Yeah.
I was a little under the weather, and the cider's helping. I like that you think of the apples like you do hops. I know that you always use a combination of all the noble hops, too. Whenever I say which noble, you go, yeah, all of them.
All of them.
And it seems like you're thinking of apples the same way.
Well, this is where the apple growers educated me and the juice guys.
Okay.
I picked up a lot just simply by picking up the phone and talking to the supplier, the juice company. They're experts at it.
Okay.
I didn't have any background, and the only thing that I was curious about is, can you just throw juice in with yeast and will it ferment to the right level?
And they said basically yes?
They said no. Everyone said no, it won't. Like Beardy was saying.
Because of the calories.
Are you going to add stuff in there to do it?
Yeah.
And no, we didn't. We didn't add any equivalent of like yeast X or different phosphate-based,
because you want to know
fertilizers.
I think it's DAP.
Yeah, I can't say it.
Any urea.
Fertilizer is what I call it back. It's just something I'm not used to,
Yeah.
But most of the things that I was told weren't going to work did work.
Actually worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Why do you think people said to you it wouldn't work? Had they never tried it?
I have no idea. I think they've had so many other issues going on in brewery sanitation, things like that they had, cross contaminations that didn't really give them an equal shot at having a clean cider.
So this truck comes down, and what?
3 of them.
And
it's like a flotilla.
And you just fill all your fermenters. Did it just go from the truck into a fermenter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, it goes through the flash pasteurizer.
Through that, into the fermenters.
Thanks to the Adwala people, I learned that's the way to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you just call them and say, how do you do this?
No, I just looked at their history books and saw what happened to them.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. With the,
by their mistake, you
always learn from others.
Meaning that they didn't do it before?
Originally Adwala was their niche was doing fresh pressed juice, never pasteurizing, and it was just thrown right into the bottle or the little plastic bottle that they had.
And what happened?
They had a massive problem. They had some fallen fruit, and when fruit hits the dirt, there's all kinds of new bacteria and
sure.
I don't know, fungi or whatever. You get the whole world down there.
Yeah.
And they're bad for you. There's some bad stuff down there.
Okay. I mean, it's a food, so
So anyway,
exploding bottles and things like that. Is that
well, exploding bottles.
People got sick.
You can get exploding bottles. This was bad stuff.
I had Odwalla today, as a matter of fact.
And it's safe because now they have flash pasteurizers.
Okay.
So
Lewis, your bartender, he used to be the truck driver to deliver all that Odwalla.
Oh.
And up in Tahoe, and he said when that whole thing happened, he had to go take it all off the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
He said it was an 18-hour day.
I bet.
He had to go take all the stuff off the shelf.
Yeah. people were probably sitting on the toilet for 18 hours, too. The ones you didn't get to fast enough.
But it's surprisingly simple.
Well, you already had the flash pack.
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes through that, goes into the fermenters, and then you throw in some Cal Ale.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
Come on.
And what was the pitching rate? You said 3 million?
3 million cells per milliliter. And this is like propagating yeast. So it's at an exponential growth rate.
Which, to me, that could be the key because, especially coming from the vintner side, cell counting and everything is not very emphasized and making a strong, healthy pitch. They're like, yeah, just sprinkle the dry yeast on top of your must. And
Charlie,
it's fine.
you're around the vintners all the time in that UC Davis environment.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, isn't the whole building named after a winery? Not even beer?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember going to a very, very big winery in Livingstone, which shall remain nameless. And I said, is this where you put the yeast? And they said, yeah. I said, what yeast do you use? They said, well, I'm not sure what we're using at the moment, you know. And you know, it's not thought about that much. It's just tipped in dried yeast. And so, but, you know, I mean, Dan is unusual in the world of brewing.
Yeah.
In that
he's unusual in general.
It's very special.
Yeah.
And he uses newly propagated yeast every time. So, I mean, I think for the beers. So I think that possibly the basis of his yeast handling is also very important for this particular product.
So, Charles, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually didn't know. I've been to your brewery so many times, but I didn't know till I was just there last week that you use a new pitch every time. Charlie, what do you think about that? Isn't that overkill that he doesn't at least reuse it a couple of times?
Put me on the spot. Why don't you?
Yeah.
I mean,
let's talk about step mashing. Let's get a fight started.
I prefer to. I prefer to answer that in a different way, you know, which is I can't understand these people who just go, you know, from fermenter to fermenter to fermenter to fermenter over and over again.
Okay.
You know, I'm into bubbles, and one of the big problems is that yeast is going to be defective and it's going to damage the foam. I was talking about this in England some while ago, and I said, you know, at the absolute most, you shouldn't go beyond 10 successive pitches.
Okay.
And this guy in the audience say, well, I've just checked. At the moment, we're at number 4,262.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that isn't the same yeast as they started with.
There's no way, right?
All right. And so, I mean, Dan can explain eloquently why he uses newly propagated yeast. To me, I'm used to when I was with Bass, for example, we would never go beyond 10.
10.
But
isn't there even something to be said about using it the second time? Like it's so healthy and active and ready to go.
Well, if you read the textbooks, and this is where Dan can comment. If you read the textbooks, they'll say, the first fermentation with newly propagated yeast is aberrant. I mean, it's not typical, and you have to blend it away.
I see.
Now, Dan uses newly propagated yeast every time.
Every time.
Which means that it's consistent.
Well, sort of. Now, this is where it's interesting, is we actually, when we're taking the culture, we pull 50%, or sometimes lower than 50% out of that tank, and then give it new nutrients. So it's not like you're starting with a pure culture every time. And then ideally, you know, performance is ideal if you use basically 50% harvested yeast and that's been, you know, used once. And then 50% prop yeast. But flavor perspective wise, I don't think we can really tell the difference between the two.
Okay.
And then it's really great from a brewery management standpoint, a yeast management standpoint. I don't have to harvest yeast. There's no cross contamination issue because of that. It's really an isolated system, and you know what's better.
But how many tanks, then, do you have dedicated just to propagating yeast for you?
They're bioreactors. They're not huge.
Okay.
One's like running at about 2,000 gallons, and then the other one's running at, we do hectoliters. So we have one that's at 15 hectoliters. That's our ale top fermenting propagator because it recovers so quick. I mean, you get up to 150 million cells per milliliter.
Okay.
Super fast. And that's a solid slurry. And then the lager one is bigger because it recovers slower. Mm-hmm. We're running it at a lower temperature, and that's the one that's running at about 60 hectoliters.
Okay. I think Chris White's not your biggest fan. He thinks you're kind of...
we buy stuff from him. We're just buying a lot less than...
Right.
Hey, Chris, we're ordering another test tube this month.
Yeah.
I'll be $35.
Yeah, exactly. Great, Dan. You're longtime customer. Thanks for the $800 you've given me over the last 10 years.
Yeah, our yeast budget. But, I mean, most people aren't buying new culture and pitching quantities from him.
Okay.
The industrial guys mostly make their own.
the most important thing is you got to know your yeast. You got to look after it. You got to handle it properly.
Yeah.
You got to treat it with respect. You got to treat it like one of the family.
Yeah.
And Dan has his way of doing it, and it's a very, very consistent way of doing it.
Sure.
And that is tremendously admirable. As soon as you got varying numbers of generations, and the yeast has come out from different types of fermenters and different sorts of strengths of wort and so on. It's a variable.
Yeah.
And at BAS, we were always obsessed with having fermentation control, same rate of specific gravity drop every time. Every fermentation had to follow the same pattern.
Okay.
And the way Dan does it will achieve that.
We'll do that. So not just the same, starting and finishing, but the actual rate
same
too
rate
should be.
of drop. The rate of the profile should overlap every time.
And be the same.
And that depends on the yeast, the amount of yeast, the oxygen level, the
vitality,
temperature, all of these things are variables. Clarity of the wort, how bright it is.
Okay. All right, let's do this. We're going to take a break. We've now gotten a cider education.
Okay.
We've gotten a Cal Ale yeast education.
That's true. At least it broadened our horizons.
Yeah.
For the prospects of said yeast.
Right. We found out that Charlie Bamforth's Jägermeister is cider.
That's true.
He can't drink it anymore because he had the worst hangover of his life. I would have liked to see a young Charlie that next day.
I think it was over hangover point.
The bad news was it made me seriously ill. The good news was it was snowing outside and it thawed overnight. So there was no evidence left behind.
Everything washed away, never to be seen again.
Smart.
All right, when we come back, we're going to find out what's new in the brewing world. I'm going to ask Charlie and Dan what they think about the culture of consolidation that's happening right now.
Sure.
You know that Charlie's like basically in Anheuser-Busch's pocket, right?
Of course.
That's his yes. All right, hey, we'll be back with Charlie and Dan. Hang in there.
Listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Tampa Bay has become a great destination for craft beer lovers with more than 60 breweries and counting, like Cigar City, Tampa Bay, and Coppertail Brewing. One of the newest breweries is Four Stacks Brewing Company in Apollo Beach. Four Stacks believes that the West Coast can't have all the fun, so while we feature West Coast beer like Stone, Ballast Point, and Green Flash on tap, we also brew hopped up ales to our liking in the West Coast style, even as they're truly Florida. Come in and see for yourself. Four Stacks hosts monthly homebrew club meetings, bottle shares, and partners with local restaurants for free food delivery while you enjoy your pint in their new tap room. Stop by Four Stacks Brewing and support the greater Tampa Bay craft beer scene at a brand new community-oriented independent brewery. Four Stacks Brewing, bringing the best of the West Coast style and attitude. Four Stacks Brewing Company in Apollo Beach, Florida.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Do you know the three most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, and SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5 Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5 Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5 Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5 Star treatment today.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. Do you like to mash using efficient fly sparging, but would like an easy way to heat your strike and sparge water? Enter the new Brewer's Edge electric mash water heater, a plug-in, anywhere, precisely controlled heater for strike and sparge water. Ditch the fumes and second burner and make mashing easy. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy the Williams way. If you haven't heard, there's a completely new brand of brewing equipment. Kettles, burners, and accessories. Trustworthy everyday gear that helps you forge and shape outstanding beer the way you want. It's called Anvil Brewing Equipment.
Hi, I'm John Palmer. You may remember me from such self-help books as How to Brew, Brewing Classic Styles, Water, and the Brew Strong podcast. I am very pleased to announce the debut of Anvil Brewing Equipment from Blickman Engineering. I have been working closely with them these past few years to develop products that combine the best of materials, features, and price point. Each of these products has been developed, tested, and reviewed to meet these ideals and bears the Palmer Brewing Solutions stamp of approval on the packaging. Anvil Brewing Equipment, inspired by Palmer, built by Blickman, and made for you.
Check out anvilbrewing.com. Anvil. Durable, reliable, dependable.
Tuned into this session because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. I got a hoppy session IPA at the break. Dan?
Session means it's lighter in body, generally a little lower in hop content than your triple or double or single IPA. Am I correct, people?
Yeah. The answer is we don't really know anymore.
Right.
People are just looking for buzzwords to sell beer.
Dan, you're going to produce a session IPA, aren't you?
I think so.
Really? I was fucking with you.
Yeah. No, we're trying to figure out. Actually, this could be a good reader or listener thing. We're trying to name the brand and the beer too.
Oh, it's not going to be a Gordon Biersch?
Well, I mean, if it would be a sellout IPA if I did it under the Gordon Biersch label.
So this is your...
You're way above that.
How about Biersch Gordon?
Wait, this is
Biersch
your
Gordon
loophole.
Man, you're right.
Gordon Biersch.
Loophole IPA.
This is your loophole to acquiescing to finally make a hoppy beer.
Finally,
by naming it a different... Charlie, what do you think about it? Isn't he just kind of pussing out and he should just make a Gordon Biersch session IPA?
I'm too old for this.
I have no idea. It just seems so out of character.
Doesn't it?
I thought he did one. It was called Optimus Maximus, wasn't it?
Yes.
Hippopotamus.
Yes.
We did
right.
the most bitter beer in the world.
Yeah.
You can see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
No liquid in it whatsoever.
Not at all.
And it had the dropper.
We thought we'd pass on the malt.
Yeah, pass it around for everyone in the world to smell and enjoy it.
Charlie, do you like IPAs and hoppy beers?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
When I first came over here to live, I used to do the sort of, English ales like an angel weeping on your tongue. But now when I go back to England, first thing I say is,
Getting strong.
Where's the hops?
Where's the hops?
Where's the hops?
So now you really do like hops.
I do, actually. I can handle these days some pretty hoppy beers. So I guess I've digressed a bit from where I was before.
Yeah.
And so I do enjoy them. And luckily there are one or two people in England that are doing them now.
Yeah. There are some good ones.
There are.
Yeah.
There are.
You know, so Dan, I have always appreciated and respected your, sticking to the beer that you set out to produce. But I have always worried about you. Like, I've been worried about you because we all know that the best-selling, SKU in America is an IPA. And I've just always thought, is it going to hurt my friend Dan that he won't just do it?
Yeah, you can chase the bucks, but everyone has their role in life, too. So mine you always like my Pilsner, and I'm very proud of it. And, that's something we do really well. But to me, a Pilsner should be equally as enjoyable as an IPA.
I agree with that.
I think people like saying 3 letters. That's my theory.
Right?
I think it's a lot easier to do it that way.
There's no pronunciation involved.
It takes a lot of energy.
Yes.
IPA.
Good point.
It's at the frontal upper part of your palate, and it's a lot less.
It's almost like a curse word. It just comes right out.
Give me one more efficient.
Give me one of them Hopperfies, the IPA.
Right.
Yeah. Merzen. Everyone mispronounces Märzen.
Oh, yeah.
Merzen. It's like a disease. It's a staphylococcus infection.
Well, if you think about IPA,
did you think about that in the beginning? Like
Märzen? No, I didn't know about MRSA back then. I had to learn about that.
I've had it before. I was hospitalized for a week. No, it wasn't good. Yeah.
Hell, if Dan can make a cider, surely he can make an IPA.
Well, and that's what I've always thought, too, is that if he would just do it, it's going to be a killer IPA.
It will, and every beer is good beer he makes.
Yeah.
And he knows full well my favourite, the one that I always stand up and I say it's the best example of the breed in North America. It's his Hefeweizen.
Oh, yeah.
It's easily the number one Hefeweizen in the country.
Bevo's clapping. She likes the Hef, too.
Well, it's kind of interesting because my other professor, Ludwig Narcis, said the same thing. When he came visited a long time ago, both of them agree. So they're the two best beer professors in the world.
Love your Hef.
Love my Hef.
That's a pretty...
We're having a love-in right now. But he mentioned his Pilsner. It's great Pilsner. I mean, the beers he's going to make are going to be good beers.
Yeah.
And I say, I love hops. Okay?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I don't like the other beers that are left behind, but it's just now with some of the ales, I'm thinking a few more hops around would be very useful.
Yeah. And you know who really loves IPAs? Hop growers. They're loving it.
Yeah, they really are.
I'm going to have to get some of those hops, aren't you?
It's like I'm fighting. I'm buying them for 2016. That's the first options I was able to get on some.
Really?
Some eccentric ones that I like to use, like Lemon Drop and Citra.
Is it the first time you've bought anything but a Noble hop?
No, we've been you would be surprised what we've been brewing for others.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
So we've been doing it. It's just we're going to do it our own way.
Are there any breweries that we wouldn't expect have brewed at the Gordon Biersch?
Numerous.
Like a Lagunitas, for example.
No. But what's interesting about
Charlie just almost spit his beer.
No,
out.
Lagunitas. I can promise that I can assure you we haven't brewed it, and I don't want. Anyway, they brew all their own beer. They've never had to go outside.
Okay. Till now.
The one thing that's interesting about IPA, though, to me is there is no longer a definition, so to speak, of what an IPA is, and I don't know if it resembles anything like an IPA used to be in England, right?
I mean, I often say, the front of my classroom when I was a lad in the north of England, there was a map of the world. And it was painted red for the British Empire, Yeah. It was hopelessly out of date. But the jewel in the crown was India, of course. That's where the IPAs sending the beers to. They hadn't got a huge hoppy nose, although I wasn't there. But reading the history, they didn't have a huge hoppy. They were very bitter, and they were quite alcoholic. To preserve them,
Yeah.
But the nose, there wasn't a huge up aroma. If there was anything, there was Brettanomyces.
Okay.
Because the beer would have been shipped out there, and the bitterness and the alcohol would have inhibited the bacteria, but it would not have inhibited some of these wild yeast.
Yeah.
So there's an above-average chance that the original IPAs were fairly funky.
Sure. No, that's a good point. The Brett's the one that will keep eating and keep doing its thing.
Yeah.
I think, this kind of lends to your theory about that we just like saying IPA, that there really isn't a definition. And session IPA, hoppy pale ale, like there's all these, they're all basically, we just call them all IPAs now. You might be right.
It's a lot easier.
It is a lot.
It's spelled phonetically if you think about it.
So when can we expect to see I guess it'll have another brewery name, but a Dan Gordon IPA?
Sometime within the next 25 years.
Come on.
No, we're working on it.
Do you have
probably within a year?
Do you have investors in the brewery?
We have backers. We haven't had to raise money in a long time.
Have they been bitching at you for years about doing an IPA or something?
No, the sales staff bitches.
Oh, they do.
They're the ones. But sales reps.
But that's your daughter.
My daughter hates IPAs. So
but she's a salesperson for you now, right?
She is, but she would actually say, "Don't do it."
Really?
No,
what does she like?
She loves the hard cider, but she drinks Blonde Bock primarily.
Oh my God, that's a heavy
high test.
That's a great
she's a
beer.
Good drinker.
She's a good drinker. Yeah,
she's
her father's daughter.
Better than her father in every regard as far as drinking goes.
When you come out with the IPA, you're going to do what's trendy now and make it look like yeast slurry. Or you can actually filter it.
Good question.
East Coast.
No, I didn't know. Is that the Midwest look?
Well, yeah, I think now
the West Coast IPA,
it's East Coast style. They're
the East Coast.
I think they want to make sure you can see the craft in it.
Yes.
And so by not being able to see through it, you know that it's craft.
I love that.
That's your tagline.
See the craft.
See the craft.
Right.
See the craft.
It's like buying a chair that's been unfinished, not sanded at all. There it is.
You were very inspirational. I actually wanted to call it Beardy IPA and have you come on board as the ambassador.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Because I'm a huge IPA fan.
No, when we defined edgy and what everyone expects a brewer to look like,
it's you.
You are the winner.
I can do some photo shoots for you.
Yeah.
Well, I want you live and in person. I want you just have a limo taking you from bar to bar.
Yeah,
I can make that work.
He has been on the cover of a magazine. Did you know that?
I would expect that.
In Japan.
Beardy is huge in Japan.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good market for us. Korea,
so if you're looking to expand.
We'll get up. I love both those countries.
Charlie, what's your take on cloudy beer when craft brewers put out the cloudy IPA?
I was only talking about that in class today. I'm teaching one of my 1-week classes, and I was saying that, my predecessor at Davis, who Dan knows and loves,
Dr. Lewis? I know how much Dan loves Dr. Lewis.
My favorite perfect storm is Lewis and Oades in the same room attacking me after I graduated from Stefan.
Moving on. I mean, he thinks it's just a simple act of slovenliness that you shouldn't have brilliantly clear beer unless it's intended to be thus.
Okay.
I'm a little bit more tolerant. I don't want it looking like chicken soup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like it to be consistent. And if it's consistently slightly not quite bright, NQB.
Yeah.
And you can almost make a statement out of it. Okay. But, I don't want it all shades of clarity from, batch to batch to
batch.
So, I don't get hung up about it quite so much. But, if I got a hazy Gordon Biersch,
oh yeah,
my bock, I would be shocked.
Right. It better be a Kellerweitz.
Right. You may recall we did the Zwickle beer series. That was really good.
Was that just because the filter was broken for a month and you were like, well, we'll just do a Zwickle?
I would prefer unfiltered right out of the tank.
You would?
But I don't want it looking like mud.
Those were great beers.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I
those
agree.
were great.
Yeah, definitely.
You just have to control it. I mean, you have to put time and effort. Don't do a random, okay, I'm going to have 100 million cells of milk per milliliter of yeast where it looks like milk. You want to have maybe 500,000 to 1 million cells.
Okay.
Well, I think
do you control that even with your hef?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, JP.
No, that's all right. I think there's a differentiation between hazy, which can happen in beers and whatever, maybe shouldn't, but it does, and cloudy to the point there is yeast slurry in here.
This is turbid.
And someone in the chat room's like, I think that's more like Vermont style now, where the heady toppers.
Vermont style.
It's starting to become a thing where it's like its own kind of subclass where people are posting photos, and the last little bit in a bulb glass like this, it's just slurry.
Oh, that's gross. I'm kind of with Charlie on this, where I actually don't mind it if it's a little cloudy, but it can't be soup.
A little cloudy. I think it doesn't.
Tasty, you don't like it either, though. You want all your beer clear, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of out there on this.
Yeah,
I like it clear. I think that's where you get to taste the beer. Nothing's in the way. No yeast. no amino acids, no staling agents, and that kind of stuff.
Years ago, I was
going to
go on.
I was going to try to do a demonstration where I would actually make a turbid beer and then filter half of it and not filter the other half and take the beer out and have people do some blind tasting. Do you like the turbid or not turbid?
Okay,
because I'm willing to concede if it actually does taste better turbid, juicy as they say, right?
Is that what the kids are saying?
Right, the kids call it juicy.
It's pulp. Okay,
It's
wow.
because the yeast mitigates the bitterness. So all there is left is the hop flavor.
Okay.
A few years ago, I did a study with one of my students, and we actually looked at different degrees of turbidity. It was a year when the protein level in the grain was a bit high. And this particular company was worried that, hey, they weren't going to be able to make the protein levels in the beer, and it was going to be hazier. And so we actually compared all these different samples, different degrees of haziness. Not chicken soup, but, marginally hazy and a little bit more marginally hazy and so on. And there was no doubt people preferred the stuff at the lower end of turbidity.
Okay.
But they didn't like the one that the lowest haze level. The one that had a little bit there.
Yeah.
And we never could explain that.
Interesting.
But what I was going to say was, a number of years ago, I went to the first time ever to Australia. I've been loads of times since, but the first time I went, I got myself a Cooper Sparkling Ale, and I poured it out. And I didn't know anything about Cooper Sparkling Ale. Of course, it's got yeast in it and so on. It was cloudy. So I poured it out, looked at it, and I said, oh, dear. I took it back.
Oh.
And this guy said, it's supposed to look like that, you pommy bastard.
Hey, they're just a bunch of prisoners down there.
So why don't you piss off and bloody drink it?
Wow. Easy with the name calling, Aussies. Crazy.
That's okay. Lovely people.
That's all right.
Then he hugged me.
I've discovered that Australia is basically America light. I mean, they're
catching up.
Yeah, they're barely. I mean, by the way, it's our second largest listenership. I love you, Australia. But you're America.
And I do too.
But you're America light.
And they love cold beer.
Like Sydney. You been to Sydney, Dan?
I haven't been down under.
You never. You'll like it.
I have
Actually,
this thing about
it might not be your thing.
I hear it's really neat. I saw a picture of my friend that went down there. They held a chicken 10 feet above the water, and then the crocodile propelled itself vertically to bite the chicken.
Yeah, the crocodiles have jets down there.
It's the scariest thing
They're
I've
like
ever
squid.
seen.
I didn't leave the cities. I stayed in cities. You don't leave cities in Australia unless you want to get eaten by a fucking crocodile.
Or Aborigine.
Go to the city, go to the zoo.
Did he say that? Did he say that?
He did.
No, I didn't. mean
I
it.
just have this thing
And
about getting
Charlie, you wonder why we're just where we were 10 years ago at the BN.
Hey, wait a minute.
Can't get past
All right, speaking of...
Can I just finish? I want to ask Charlie a question. I had a question leading up to my inability to duplicate this. How do I make a beer that attenuates down to terminal gravity, but still has all this yeast and suspension? I mean, these are beers that I asked bartenders, when you pour the first pint of the day, is that much cloudier than the rest of the pints? No, it's all the same. How do they keep whatever that crap is in suspension?
I think they're lying to you.
It depends what it is.
Right.
It depends on what the nature of that particular
the yeast maybe itself?
There's two different types. There's I only know it in German. Like Bruchhefe and Staubhefe. There's powdery yeast. And then the stuff that settles down, Bruchhefe. What's it called in I don't know. In English, I don't know.
Ich spreche nicht Deutsch.
It drives me crazy where half the thing is I only know it in German.
So the size of the flock.
There's flocculating yeast, that strong flocculating yeast, and then there's powdery yeast.
Not powder, then the powder.
Yeah.
And that might stay in.
And then, of course, shaking the keg every day helps, too.
Maybe that's what the bartenders are doing,
I think that's where you're at. I think that's where we're at.
Well, should we have to give away the first 3 pints?
Because it still will settle out.
And maybe brewers are chimping on the Whirl Flock, and so it's also a protein haze, too, which wouldn't be as flocculent.
Yeah, we German brewers don't use Whirl Flock, though.
Well, no, right. It can be done, but American brewers aren't taught how to do that without Whirl Flock.
I know it's amazing how many chemicals go in American beer still, and we're supposed to be craft brewers. But I mean, there's like this. You look at the list of additives that are going in there, and it just shocks me a lot of times when it's supposed to be the cutting edge kind of all natural, super trustworthy brewers, and they're throwing in 4 different types of chemicals to help them in their attenuation, clarification, you name it. Yeah.
It takes more work to do it without chemicals, though.
It does. Time, too.
And time.
Right. And time.
Americans
are lazy, Dan.
I know, but there's nothing wrong with brewing in a 6-week cycle.
Mm-hmm. All right, I have a question for you guys. We have questions coming through in the chat, but I can't read JP's writing.
Posted.
We have a question about pasteurization. JP?
Okay. This is from the chat. Can you please ask Dan why he feels that he has to pasteurize when the greatest cider producers in Europe, like Eric Bordelais, all spontaneously ferment and produce incredible products? Can you hear his nose in the air?
Wow.
Whoa,
Dan.
wow.
Yeah.
So, Dan, answer the man. Why do you feel the need?
I love how calm Dan is. He's like, I'm reading his mind. He's like,
I'm just tasting.
I tasted the cider.
Whatever his answer is, it's
That's the answer
the part
to me.
that we're not going to hear is it starts with, you fucking asshole.
Jane, you ignorant slut. Right.
Yes.
I'm sure whatever the guy is in France does phenomenal cidre. But
nice.
Yeah.
You know, if I really want to upset myself, I read a book about wine. And there's a woman, I can't remember her name, she's from New York, and she writes about wine. And she wrote about coming to Davis and how she was horrified that the viticulture enology program at Davis spoke crazy modern ideas like adding yeast. I mean, for Christ's sake,
Wow, yeah.
And what do you want to do? Do you want to have something that is consistently excellent and superb,
right?
Or do you throw up their hands and
be traditional?
Give them what you're dealt.
Yeah, I mean, traditional is a stone wheel.
Yeah.
Modern is whatever you used to ride a
can I get
Harley Davidson or whatever. I mean, Christ,
what was the name of this guy again?
I don't know. I didn't get it.
Can we get his name and address, and I'll send him a bottle?
It was a guest in the chat.
So
it's just I'm sure the chat person can
you guys
put up their
get his
name and
number.
address,
Yeah.
and I will convince them with the end product.
If you gave me an unpasteurized beer and a pasteurized beer, and you made me blind taste, would I really taste the difference?
Yeah, you
in
can
your
taste-
Pilsner?
you can
I can.
taste the difference,
Yeah. What goes away?
There's a different aromatic component that happens during pasteurization, but it. Like I said, it's not on the norm. It's for anything we're doing for others
Okay.
that are going to have us sit around for 2 years.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's not something we need to do.
Okay.
And we brew sterile at the brewery, and
So my Gordon Biersch Pilsner in my fridge is non-pasteurized.
right.
Oh,
You know those big bottles, the Zwickelpils that we made and all that had the yeast in it.
Yeah.
Straight from the tank.
Oh, yeah.
No filtration.
Which, like you admitted, you would love to do that.
It'd be fun to do that if we knew the beer was going to get cold. The reason we filter beer is that we don't want the yeast cells to autolyze, which just mean dissolve.
Okay.
Gives a phenolic, hospital-like aroma that is undesirable, especially with German-style lagers where it's more prominent. You can tell the difference between an autolyzed yeast content in a Pilsner versus not having it.
Okay.
So
no place to hide.
Keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh
is a key thing.
Biggest
thing for beer though is freshness by far.
Yeah.
I'll take a fresh, pasteurized, and we do flash when we're doing pasteurization. I'll take a fresh flash pasteurized beer over a stale non-pasteurized beer any day of the week.
Good call. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not?
I got my druthers.
Does your sales team go and remove beer from the shelf?
Yeah, we're honest.
Yeah.
We have the bottled on date on every
yeah.
bottle.
Yeah.
I went over to Milwaukee to an event a number of years ago, and they gave me a fancy title: Critical Control Point Analysis of Beer Flavor Stability. And I stood up and I said, keep out the oxygen, keep it cold. Are there any questions?
Simple.
That's it.
And he knows.
Yeah.
I mean, you keep the beer as cold as possible from the end of brewing it and producing it to it hitting the customer.
Sure.
And that is the trick.
And that oxygen thing is something, again, I think is super critical. I adhere to that in a huge way. We measure oxygen content during bottling. It's our religion.
You do.
And anything over 25 parts per billion, we consider unacceptable.
Okay.
What's interesting is this movement towards cans in the craft sector, theoretically for quality and environmental stability, and that light doesn't get through. Oxygen's the worst enemy we have.
Okay.
And there's no can filler. The best can filler cannot get values that are even less than double that of a bottle.
Really?
Yes. You can't put a vacuum on a can.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Just the way the top goes on.
It's just one of those things. I call it the crafty brewing sector. So, it's where they're going for image and not on quality, because if it really were driven by quality, there wouldn't be any craft beer in cans.
Having said which, no oxygen can get into a can. So
it's not permeable, but
the initial level is higher, but it's not going to pick up with time.
So what surprises me about this piece of information is that as much as we can talk about the big brewers and whatever evils live in that world, or not,
exactly.
One thing that I think we all agree on is their dedication to quality, and that beer actually sitting on the shelf and being okay. So I'm surprised that then cans are their vessel of choice if there's so much oxygen.
The sales and marketing departments drive the package, not the brewers.
Of course, okay.
I mean, there is a real reality that you can buy a very cheap canning line for a lot less than a cheap bottling line. And that's why you find craft breweries. They're not going for based on qualitative aspects. They're going based on what they can afford.
You know, this is the opposite of what every craft brewer comes in here and says, Dan. As usual, when you come in here.
It's just fact. I mean, we've had to analyze a lot of beers that come into our place asking when just because they're trying to troubleshoot their problem. And oxidation was this prevalent problem in some of the can beers. If you spend $3 million on a canning line, you're going to have a pretty damn good product.
Okay.
It's not going to be as good as the $3 million line they're using for bottling the beer, though.
So are you saying they can't get below the 25,000 parts per million?
No, 25 parts per billion.
25 parts per billion.
You can't get there in
a can.
In a can. No way, no how.
What is your goal?
I think with time, you'll get more pickup in a bottle. To me, the biggest issue is to do with perception. Not long ago, I was driving across country, and my wife and I found ourselves in Oklahoma City. And I was in a restaurant, and they said, what would you like to drink? And I said, what craft brews do you have? And she said, Bud, Miller, and Coors.
Yeah.
I said, well, anything else? She said, yeah, Pabst Blue Ribbon. I said, great, I'll have one of those. And he brought me in a can. And my lip curled. And my wife looked at me. She said, what's the matter? I said, it's a can. She said, you hypocritical bastard. You keep telling people that beer doesn't pick up, oxygen in a can, and here you are moaning about it. And I said, because I don't think it fits psychologically in a restaurant,
I
so
see.
I think perception-wise as well, it's not a superior packaging.
I think you're right. That makes sense. And perception really is such an enormous part of our experience anyway, isn't it? Same, and the marketing department knows that, as you're saying.
Being super sensitive to dissolved oxygen, if you're
or total package oxygen, TPO is the measure.
Oh, okay.
So both of them are critical. And
have you looked into the different ways that are common for dry hopping in order to minimize oxygen at that level for the IPA of the future?
I mean, we gas the tanks before we. So theoretically, when we're brewing an IPA for some unknown breweries, we prefer to put the hops in the tank and then CO2 purge. And we get a lot of complaints from craft breweries saying that you're stripping the volatiles off the hops. But, I'd rather have low oxygen content than stripping a few volatiles. You can add some more hops into the tank and make up for that.
So you add the hops to an empty tank and then transfer the beer into it to dry hop, or are you just dumping it in the top of a full tank?
No, you dump it into the top of a 500-barrel tank, and you get a volcano that's unreal.
Right.
You cannot open up the top.
Right.
The other way to do it, and we're looking into, is creating a beer slurry. Gassing it, then add the hops in a concentrated, smaller vessel, and then pumping that into the bottom of the tank. But normally the way we do it is we put the hops in the fermenter and then gas it to get rid of the oxygen. So just purge it with carbon dioxide and then transfer the beer into it.
The oxygen that would be in the headspace from opening the fermenter?
Yeah, there won't be any oxygen after we purge it.
Right, okay.
That's it.
You lost me.
It's okay. This is what happens when you put a bunch of brewers in the same movie. We've lost the audience. Better get to Beer Jeopardy pretty quick, Justin.
We are going to get to Beer Jeopardy. All right, before we take a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to play Beer Jeopardy, I do want to ask the two of you what you think about the consolidation that's happening in our industry.
I love it. Not me.
Yeah, the other two of you.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the one with the PhD and the smart one.
Okay,
PhDs.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there are some obvious answers. It was inevitable, things like that. But Charlie, you're kind of on the forefront, aren't you? Like you're in Anheuser-Busch's billfold, right? Like they have you.
That's the myth.
Does Augie have? He has you on speed dial.
I don't think Oggy's part of the equation anymore.
I see.
It's a very different company these days.
But a lot is happening. It's changing in the beer world. I did mention at the beginning of the show that I'm worried and curious about 2 breweries opening every day and what that means for quality. And then here you have Anheuser-Busch, who's sort of doing the thing instead of competing, which we all wondered if that was going to happen. They're now purchasing. And I wonder what you think.
Well, I just wrote an article about this in the Brewing Distillery International. What is a craft brewer? And as far as I'm concerned, a craftsperson, and I don't give a damn what scale they're on, whether they can be huge or whether they're very, very small, as long as they're a damn good brewer and they're properly trained and they have all the attitudes and so on. Because they've all got the same problems. They've all got to worry about the malt and the hops and the yeast and so on. So I think we've got to get away from size. And I think, look at where the people have got brewers. Look at some of the bigger craft brewers, whatever they are. And they get a lot of people from the likes of Anheuser-Busch InBev because they know they're damn good brewers.
Sure.
So nobody should kid themselves. These guys are not excellent brewers. My concern is when it comes to sort of the ruthlessness of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. There's a film that's come out. I don't know if you guys have looked at it. This California craft brewing movie that's come out, and we were featured in it. And there are at least 3 of the people talking in there, in a film that basically is, as usual, anti the big guys.
Sure.
And they're taken over now. They've sold out. And of course they have, because there's a lot of money to be.
How could you not?
There is a lot of money.
Yeah. And of course,
$1 billion.
Yeah. And of course, these guys will come in and they've got really good quality standards and they've got really good systems. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're very, very good. I remember years ago at the Craft Brewers Conference, and Jane Killebrew, who's a significant brewer in St. Louis, she came out and she was smiling. I said, "What are you smiling about?" She said, I just came out of a session and they discovered, I can't remember what it was, they discovered this, and we've been doing it for 20 years. And all that is going on. But at the end of the day, in terms of eating away and everything being consolidated into one very large company, it does worry me.
In any industry, right?
It worries me because, I think of local communities, they'll get swallowed up and all of a sudden they won't be brewing there anymore. They'll be brewing somewhere else. And that's gone away from that community and it eats into local. So socially, it worries me.
Okay.
I don't like some of the business approaches of some of the larger companies, making people wait a very long time to get paid. I don't like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a very confusing thing. I'm all for individuality. When I was talking about Mozambique earlier on, we talked about, we had a big session there on craft, and I stood up and I said, the only decent brew is one that's in a sort of femto level one. It's in a cuvette, and it's 10 milliliters per brew. I mean, there's that mentality going on, which is a bit ridiculous.
Which is ridiculous, But you're worried about the ethics.
I'm worried about the big guys sort of not owning up to brewing some of these beers.
Okay. Yeah.
And you this crafty thing where you don't see on the label that they're actually brewed by the big guys. But I understand why, because there is this. For anybody who doesn't know any better, they'll say, well, it's brewed by the big guys, therefore, by definition, it must be rubbish.
Yeah.
And that's unfair. That's unfair, because the big guys are capable of brewing some extremely great beers.
But why do you think they didn't do that, then? Why do you think they didn't produce some of the best pale ales and IPAs in America themselves?
Well, that's a hugely complicated question.
Okay.
And I think one of the reasons is that the beers that sell are the ones that are not a challenge to the palate. If you look at the biggest selling brands of beer in the world, they're
sure.
Flavor-wise, they don't really linger. They don't touch the sides.
Easy.
They're easy to drink,
to taste,
so on and so forth. Yeah. And therefore, it's and the history is complicated. It's much more complex than that.
But with their knowledge, they could have. There was 2 decisions, right? Or there were 2 paths. Yeah. They could produce world-class. Let's just call it craft beer, because that's what we're IPAs and
right.
Or they could buy the ones doing it.
Yeah.
And I do wonder sometimes why they didn't just do it. Because we are talking about how good they are.
Yes, we are. And one of the reasons they don't do it is, they've got some very big breweries with very, very large fermenters.
Yeah.
And they're going to fill those up with specialty products, which are loaded with hops and loaded with who knows what else.
Yeah.
Unless they throw the marketing budget behind it and so on.
Right.
There's a lot of people out there that are going to go, wow. How am I going to drink this, you know?
I see.
And whereas, you know...
it's almost like Dan deciding, I'm not going to put out a Gordon Biersch IPA. I have to have another brewery name if I'm going to put out an IPA. Is that kind of what you're... Because that's what they're known to do, and if all of us... maybe I'm not going to buy into it if they put out an IPA.
The big business model, where they make their biggest bucks, and it's all linked into marketing, distribution, advertising, and the actual production, is to make very, very large quantities of products that are going to reach most people. And if people like to drink that type of product, it's okay. They're not bad people.
Sure.
You know? Let me tell you a story. I was not long ago. I'm keen on bubbles as well. And
oh yeah.
And all that.
Oh, you're the bubbles guy.
Yeah, I'm the Pope of foam. So I'm in a pub not long ago with my wife, and there's a guy there. He must have been 6'6" with tattoos all the way down his neck, and he was drinking a Bud straight out of the bottle. And my wife looked at me. She said, "Go and tell him."
Yeah.
Which digresses a little bit from the point, because you were trying to bring Dan into defending his IPA.
Well, and
I'm enjoying this whole conversation. I'm mesmerized.
I'm asking you because I care about your opinion, but frankly, I do think that the decision is the right decision, actually, to purchase other brewers doing it rather than do it yourself. But I still wanted to hear, what you thought about
because you remember a few years ago, Budweiser came out with an American Pale Ale.
Yeah.
And it didn't last long.
Right.
It may not have been very good. It may have been very good. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the point is, it was produced overtly, marketed by Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
So hey, that's it. It's just a Me Too product that are trying to just rip the bread out of the mouths of the poor guy.
Yeah.
All of this was going on.
It's not genuine to their brand, maybe?
It's just not already branded. I mean, if you buy a Sculpin... Yeah. Buy a Ballast Point, you're buying the brand.
You're buying the story.
Most of the drinking public won't even know who owns them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you come out with a brand new beer from, a big, from Consolidated Brands, that's just, another macro beer.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the Dog's Bollocks Brewing Company in Nebraska made a Me Too Michelob Ultra, people say they're cheating.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Dan, what's your number?
It's $1.2 billion.
You have to
I want to do it one notch higher. I want to go to 11.
Yeah.
11 billion sounds great.
11 billion. Yeah. No, 11 on the,
the amplifier.
Spinal Tap. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody complained about breweries getting bought.
No, I'm applauding all them.
Until Ballast.
I am so thrilled for Tony.
Right? Like, you're ready to get bought. Yeah. But until Ballast, once the $1 billion number got thrown out, everyone shut the fuck up. They were like, well, how do you say no to that?
That was like the mic drop.
But when it was, when it was $20 million for this one, which, by the way, I'm out of here for $20 million also.
Right.
You're out of here for $20. Let's be clear.
You remember the internet bubble?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there's the beer bubble now.
Right, of course.
Don't say that. My whole life is wrapped up in this.
Year. It's gone. It's over now. It's over. It's just like the minute dentists start getting into real estate. It's one of those. Sorry,
sorry, Doc.
I didn't mean it. My dad. No, that was my. My dad was a dentist too. So it's just like. It's just what happens is when the doctors and lawyers start doing it.
Yeah.
You can tell that the price is it's gonna tank. It's just not.
Those
are ridiculous valuations.
Who's the next big brewery that's going to sell, Charlie? Is it Stone? Are they going to sell?
I think it's well known that I have one or two issues with a personality there. No comment on that front.
Because
I really don't know.
He's like the vocal one who says, no way, no how.
Yeah,
but I feel like they're the exact company that, the next level of growth for them is going to cost them $50 million. Yeah. Or they can sell for $1 billion. I think they're going to sell.
The important thing...
They just opened in Berlin.
I know.
But there's a great case in point.
Too.
There's a great case in point, there's a guy there at the helm talking about yellow fizzy liquid. Mm-hmm. And he knows damn well he's got one of the best brewers, and that's Mitch Steele. Where the hell did Mitch come from? He came from Anheuser.
And that's a Busch,
and that is the reality.
Yeah.
He was incubated in craft.
He was, but he still came. He's still,
Yeah, but he cut his teeth on commercial beer.
He's got his science and his consistency.
And he knew he picked up systems. He picked up ways of doing things. And so don't get me wrong. Anheuser-Busch, the research I do, a lot of it, the beer and the health and the wholesomeness and the drinking in moderation, they hate it, you know?
Yeah, they don't want to hear you say that.
They don't want to hear me say that, you know? So I'm not in, you know.
That was my first brewing job.
Yeah. Anheuser-Busch?
Yeah, Fairfield.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Before I went to school in Germany.
Okay.
There weren't a lot of breweries to get experience at.
Yeah.
And back in 1981.
Okay.
Or 82, excuse me. There was New Albion, there was Anchor.
Right.
And AB. There wasn't anything else in the Bay Area. I guess Mendocino might have been starting up then. I can't remember.
Who knows?
But it was
too
too
far
far for them to
away,
get on the
and
radar.
you know,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go up to that far. I needed something fairly close.
So you were a brewer there?
Yeah.
Yeah. More importantly, what were you listening to on the radio in 1981?
Oh,
what station?
Probably Tower Power.
Oh, a little Tower Power action.
Yeah, I was a major funk guy.
There you go. Plus, they had a brass section. So
Tom Scott, LA Express.
There you go.
Another jazz guy.
Okay.
Chuck Mangione.
Yeah.
What were you driving in 81?
I had a Ford Capri.
Oh.
And then I graduated going back into the Festiva.
Yeah, did you have a Festiva in 81?
In England, no.
They didn't have them in 81.
No, I couldn't drive in 1981, actually.
Why?
It's a long story.
I would like to add to the trivia part that I did have a Ford Fiesta when I lived in Germany.
The sister of the Festiva.
I believe, the precursor.
Yes.
She didn't have a Volkswagen, for God's sake.
No, I couldn't afford one. Volkswagens in Germany were expensive. That
The
was
government just didn't give you one? That's weird.
No, they didn't give me one.
That's too bad.
We all know that New Belgium is going to sell in 2016, right? There's no way we go through 2016 and New Belgium doesn't get bought by
we did that story a couple weeks ago in Beer News that they're
discussing it.
They're discussing, or they've hired on a firm that has helped other breweries sell.
I see. I mean, that one's a done deal.
Of course.
Right, Charlie? Yeah. You already have this inside information, don't you?
I do not have this.
New Belgium is all but sold, isn't it?
If you tell me so.
Nobody knows this stuff.
I know.
There's like 3 people within those companies that might know.
Yeah. I want to be the guy who gets to just go around buying brewery or girl buying breweries.
You want to be the girl who buys breweries?
What a great job!
Yeah,
just go around and you go, hey.
It was very interesting.
What's your number? 800 mil.
I was talking to a fairly senior executive from a very large brewery in St. Louis recently. And I say, well, what's cracking off with the takeover, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they were totally out of the loop. I mean, they had no idea.
They don't know, yeah.
They're not part of any of the thinking.
And that makes
any
sense.
of the planning. They're in the zone, the American zone.
Yeah.
And Europe's a long way away. And they don't get involved.
So like at a shareholders meeting with these Anheuser-Busch or AB InBev executives, what would they say to the shareholders? Like they're putting literally billions of dollars into this thing.
Yeah, they are.
They probably say we have a strategy to purchase craft breweries, but without being specific. You know what I mean?
In order for these to pan out, the 2 billion Chinese are going to have to be buying a lot of IPA.
Yes.
I mean, these are the metrics to get a return, $1 billion return. That's what they're counting on.
Right? Because $1 billion, God damn it, for a craft brewery?
Yeah.
Seriously, what's your number?
I'm less than $1 billion.
You're less
Quite
than $1 billion.
less.
Yeah.
A lot less.
Because you don't want to work for the rest of your life. You want to go enjoy
I want to hang with you. I just want to
your
be
labor.
one of the guys around this table every Monday night.
You can have that chair.
You want to play trombone, that's what.
Yeah, I want to get a little workout and eat durian fruit, somewhere in Thailand.
I
just want to have permanent diarrhea.
All right, last question on the topic, then we're going to take a break. Yeah. There are, the Brewers Association estimates that there are 2 craft breweries opening every day right now. Is this that bubble again, like that happened in the mid-'90s, where everyone's just jumping in because they want to make money and we're going to get a bunch of shit beer on the market?
Yes.
Okay.
How many people are going to start a business where they're going to earn upwards of $23,000 a year,
right?
And living their dream.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just not realistic. They're going to get on their moped and deliver that one keg down the street, and then go find another buyer for the next keg.
It's not just realistic, right?
No, it's a nano business. It's not sustainable.
No, and I also think that organization needs to look at the definitions.
Isn't that the Moonlight?
You don't like the numbers definition?
I don't like the numbers at all. I mean, 6 million barrels is how much they put out of Denmark every year, for God's sake,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a ridiculous number. And we all know why it is. It's to keep one guy in the club.
It's to keep, I'll say it for you, it's to keep Sam Adams, who's on the board of the Brewers Association, into the craft beer club.
Yes.
Is why they keep moving the number. And they have moved the number over the last...
And I think it's nonsense, and I think it needs to change.
Your definition instead would be about education
my definition
and
was
talent?
to walk away from the whole thing of defining stuff as craft. I would think my definition was you classify it in some other way.
Yeah.
You classify it on the basis literally of size, and you take the word craft out of it in some way.
Okay.
And I think if you look at organizations like the Master Brewers Association of the Americas, the Institute of Brewing and Distilling, and so on, brewers, doesn't matter whether they work for the biggest or the smallest, they're in the club.
Yeah.
They get together, they talk.
Right.
And that is what we should be celebrating. Beer.
I think
it should be celebrated by whether it's somebody brewing a bucket at home or they're working for Anheuser-Busch InBev. These guys want to make the best beer that they can.
Okay.
And I think that's what we should be celebrating.
So, all right. That's a whole other... The Brewers Association, we don't know what they're going to do with that definition. But if we're going to see a bunch of bad beer on the market, Dan, can our thing, right, and I have built my career on this thing, and so have you, can it sustain another bubble burst like it did in the 90s, or is it going to sink this craft beer, because, that's the only word we have? Is it going to sink us if we fail this time? If all these breweries open up and it's all shit beer and it's all for the money, are we going to make it through it?
Well, I think the regulating factor is that all the beer names have been taken.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to regulate the number of new breweries that are going to come in, because they're going to try to get label approval, and it's all gone.
It's impossible,
the
right?
The door's closed.
Yeah.
You can't get it. The distribution is going to be the other element. Getting to market is going to be next to impossible, especially with the consolidation in the distribution network.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have a self-regulating factor. I mean, when I went to school in Germany, there were 4,000 breweries.
Okay.
Wow.
Now there's under 1,000. I think it's like closer to 500 in Germany now.
In Germany?
In Germany, yeah. This is something that took 1,000 years.
Yeah, to go the opposite direction we're going.
But it's gone the other way in England. So now in England, there's over 1,500 brewers.
Okay.
And if you realize the whole of the UK will fit into California twice.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be 3,000 brewers in California alone.
Wow.
So the most important thing is, if the thing is going to sustain, they've got to be educated. And they've got to come to UC Davis.
Yeah, the best program.
Specifically my classes.
Right. Yeah. Specifically.
Wait.
How long are you going to be there, Charlie?
Full disclosure, Charlie. How many students do you actually let come into your program? Because it is very exclusive.
Is it hard to get in?
It's not easy.
Well, there's a whole range of different classes.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about the fermentation science majors.
Yeah, Dan, the real one.
Yeah. Okay, not the 500 that are in the class for the entertainment.
The comedy class.
Yeah, and I have a blast going in there and doing it with Charlie.
Most popular class on campus. Puts the class on sex into second place.
Oh, it's of course.
Do you offer beer tasting?
Videos
Is that why?
are better in the sex education class.
How much longer does UC Davis have you, Charlie? Come on.
Oh, shit. No more than 3 years.
Is that right?
Yeah. When I've put 20 years into the university, they give me full medical coverage.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And then I'm going right in my
and
sex
you can
book.
bill. Yeah, the other popular class.
Write on other things.
You're going to pull a Dr. Lewis, though, right? And you're going to stick around for another 20 years with You're going to just do it.
I'll probably do bits and pieces, but
you're going to go write sports full time.
I do write sports, yes.
You do. You write for soccer or something, right?
I've been writing about soccer for
the Wolves.
Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah.
I've been doing
JP knows.
I've been doing it for more than 30 years.
Wow.
Charlie, you got to tell everybody so that all these people that are aspiring to get into the UC Davis fermentation science program.
Yeah.
How many actually do you have admitted into your program?
That's a good question.
He's adamant I'm going to answer this question.
You have to answer it.
Well, it depends on in terms of the practical brewing class, which is the flagstone class, flagship.
Yeah.
There are 40 students in the class.
40.
Wow.
Per semester. It's not
it's only taught once per year.
Per year.
How many freshmen?
Good Lord.
In that, there's no freshmen.
No, it's an upper division.
To be able to
declare junior.
To be able to do the practical brewing class, you've got to have done the hard. You've got to do all the basic chemistry, biochemistry, all the fundamental science.
Yeah.
You
got to weed out us idiots.
You got to do that, and then you get to the 40 right at the end. A real hardcore.
Okay.
How many women?
So, and then at the Technical University of Munich, there's roughly 20 graduates in brewing engineering per year.
Wow.
So Berlin's the same thing. So you have not a lot of trained professionals.
Well, having said that, we do extension classes as well. So I got a practical brewing class going on this week.
But Dan, would you hire an extension student, or is that still cool?
You know, if the person has the right other attributes, yes. I mean, they have to have done some hands-on work in a brewery to really be able to apply the knowledge that they're picking up in an extension class.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to done a lot of inspirational outside studying.
Okay.
On top of it.
Okay.
Those are the things. So,
do your brewers like you, Dan?
No, they hate me.
I thought so. Like, I like you because we don't work together. Like, we don't work like that. But I think they would hate you.
No. I can say they don't, because I know he's got some of my former students.
Okay. And
let me tell you this story. Several years ago now, there was a guy, and I kept going on at him, about, you got to join Anheuser-Busch. You got to join Anheuser-Busch. And he said, no. He said, I give him my word, I'm going to join Dan.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw he introduced me to his father. And I said, I wanted to join Anheuser-Busch. He said, what would you advice would you give him to your son? To keep his word and to work.
Wow.
And he's still there.
And he's sticking with Dan.
He's still there. Ben,
Big Ben, hell of a guy.
You're not firing him this week,
no,
are you? Charlie's gonna feel terrible.
Yeah. He's assistant brewmaster. He's the anchor, one of the anchor guys.
He's the guy.
Yeah. And no, I think my brewers like to work, and most brewers like to work at a company that is basically owned and operated by a brewer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different experience than working for a company that is basically driven by a marketing or sales or executive type. So we have neat toys. Mm-hmm. Brewers' quality of work and the lifestyle that they get because of the infrastructure we have at our brewery. It's not backbreaking work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
So that's what we have going for us.
And the restaurants are all allowed to brew IPAs now? You've made that official?
Are you going to keep
Have you made that official?
digressing from the topic at hand here?
Did you make that official? Did you send out a memo and say, guys, go ahead and brew IPAs?
I did not send out a memo.
You didn't?
The brewery restaurant, Tom Dargan, did the memo.
Really?
Yeah, I just was arm wrestled into that position.
You were?
Yeah.
You would rather them not brew IPAs because it's like you're not able to control.
No, I'd rather. I don't mind if it's great beer. Just don't let anything that's like a sour rye.
Yeah.
I understand. Single hopped, fresh cow bile. Resonated.
Sure. You're worried that it won't be up to the Gordon Biersch standards, which you should be.
Yeah, it's nothing against home brewing mentality, but I don't want home brew.
Yeah.
I want to have absolute consistency and perfection in whatever we go after.
Yeah.
So my philosophy is the Zen and art of motorcycle maintenance approach, where I want them to strive towards getting it absolutely dialed in and perfect each time.
You have never shocked me more than making a Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance analogy.
I had to take there's a story behind that, though. It's pretty funny because I was not a very good student when it came to any class at Cal where you had to write a lot of papers.
Yeah.
So I took my upper division English requirement when I was an exchange student in Germany.
Okay.
And that was one of the books we read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
had
had
to. And Jack Kerouac on the road.
Kerouac.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're so well-rounded now.
Yeah, but it was unfair because I was the only one in the class that could actually... No, I love the books.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was taking a class where no matter what, I was going to write a paper that would make me look good versus all the Germans that were struggling to do perfect grammar.
Right. They are two of my most favorite books on earth.
Well, it is. Dialing in to that perfection is kind of my way of approach towards brewing.
Okay.
It's never going to be perfect, but you try to get there.
See, I like this about Dan. All right, we're going to take a break. Charlie's prostate is old. He had to leave and go pee. He couldn't make
You are so mean.
He couldn't make it to the end of this poor guy.
And I'll tell you, it will be a sad day when he leaves Davis.
Are you kidding? Of course it will.
He's irreplaceable.
The guy. In fact, the amount of just beer scholarship that he does, the research, is that going to be replaceable? Who else? Who's doing what he does?
That's not actually the hardest part. You can find lots of research, excellent individuals out there. What you can't find is someone that inspires students to greatness, like the great Charles Bamforth. When you go into his class, it's a special feeling.
Charlie, I made fun of your prostate while you were gone. I'm sorry.
Well, let me tell you a story. I was up in Mount Shasta City getting my hippie fix.
Yes.
And I stood outside a men's room, outside a coffee shop, and this guy walked up to me and he said, "Pour with vigor." And I said, what, at my age?
Yeah, right. I'm doing what I can,
Yeah,
okay?
I don't think
But here I am again.
Here you're back.
Charlie's not that old, and I'm really starting to feel the offensiveness there. All right, don't gang up on Charlie.
I won't gang up, but Charlie doesn't mind. He knows.
No, he doesn't mind. He can handle it.
All right. We're going to take a break.
I think the cable's getting caught in Beer's beard.
We're going to take a break.
Don't lose it.
I constantly untangle it.
We're going to come back and play Beer Jeopardy. Now, I know it's getting late, so Charlie, I'll give you the option if you want to come back and mess around with us and play Beer Jeopardy. I hope you'll stay because I think you're going to be good at it. But
well, it's pretty embarrassing when I'm not, isn't it?
Or I'm going to ruin your career. Basically.
Well, it's too late to do that.
They're not easy.
Choose wisely here, Charlie.
All right, so let's do this. We'll take a little break, and we'll come back. We'll play some Beer Jeopardy with Dan Gordon and Charlie Bamforth here on the session. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
For more than 20 years, White Labs has collected yeast strains from around the world and kept them locked away. Until now. Through the Yeast Vault, they are now releasing new, creative, and unique strains. Most have never been used in commercial products. Some have names you can barely pronounce. And all are uniquely White Labs in quality and performance. Now they're giving you the opportunity to unlock the vault. Here's how it works. Pick the yeast you want from the vault. As soon as 500 people have chosen that yeast, your card will be charged and your yeast will go into production. A short time later, a fresh White Labs Pure Pitch package will show up at your door, ready to make the beer you've always wanted to brew. For the first time, White Labs is letting you into their secret yeast vault, unlocking access to hundreds of strains never available before. Join the White Labs Customer Club for first access to the vault.
With over 20 years of experience making world-class craft beer and more than 100 gold medals in international competitions, Moylan's Brewing Company is not just a pretty face in craft beer. Just ask Brendan Moylan.
What do we got here? The beer of the hour. Moylan's, gotta love that big M. It's like a sign of awesomeness. Woo-hoo! It's got an extra kick to it. Let's pour this bad boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Moylan's. At the end of the night, when the kids are finally in bed, the wife's in bed, nobody's bothering your ass anymore, that's Moylan's time. Moylan's is for you. Yeah. It's to help you out. Yeah. It helps me out. What? Well, because it's freaking awesome. Northern California brewed. It's brewed with love. With love? Oh, yeah. Tremendous. And it's always best where? Moylan's. You gotta try it. On tap at Moylan's in Novato. They're friggin' awesome. Not only because I own the brewery, because I love the beer.
Cheers!
Boom.
Kilt Lifter Scotch Ale takes big beers to a whole new level with rich malt balanced perfectly with delicate hops, and now comes in 4-pack tall boy cans so you can take the party on the go. Or come to the brewery, take a tour, and try any of Moylan's fresh creations right from the source. Check them out at moylans.com.
A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and the gadget guy Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com. 3-time Ninkasi Award winner and Grandmaster Judge Gordon Strong invites you on a guided journey of what's new in the world of homebrewing. Modern homebrew recipes, exploring styles, and contemporary techniques available now from Brewers Publications. Gordon brings you specific advice and sensory profiles for as-brewed, award-winning beers with delicious variations to get your creative juices flowing. This is more than just a book of recipes. It sets brewers on the path to discovering what's new in the world of homebrewing. AHA Director Gary Glass says, if you want to enter competitions or just learn more about styles that you might not have experience with, this book is going to help you tremendously. By emulating what Gordon does, you're going to make better beer. Modern homebrew recipes, exploring styles, and contemporary techniques by Gordon Strong. Available right now from brewerspublications.com and find brewing retailers near you.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a Certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
You're listening to the Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're still here with Dan Gordon and Charlie Bamforth, and we're going to play a little bit of Beer Jeopardy. 888-401-BEER. That's our phone number. 888-401-BEER. We need 4 contestants. 2 of you are going to play the game against Charlie and Dan, and 2 of you are going to be the recipients of the win if Charlie or Dan win. So call up 888-401-BEER. 888-401-BEER. Bevo will take your phone call, and there we go.
Great.
We're sorting out beer. I went back to the cider, Dan.
That cider's refreshing.
You're a hell of a guy.
It's bringing me out of my sick funk, is what's happening.
It has a lot of vitamin in there.
Yeah, I'm getting the vitamin. What's the ABV on your cider?
6.2.
Perfect. That's what I needed. Right? Right, Charlie? 6.2 is right in the sick zone.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, that's where the perfect IPA is.
Medicinal level.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Dan, when you make an IPA, make it at 6.2%. That's just a great number.
Yep.
That is a good number.
It's a good number.
Except you're making a session IPA.
Oh, that's right.
What is a session IPA?
What's your
The
ABV
definition of a session IPA is very similar to that
what is it
of a
to
definition of an IPA.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
If
it's
you were to make one tomorrow,
you close your eyes and you make it whatever you want.
It's still going to be like 5.8%, isn't it? That's a session IPA.
No, a session should be like 5.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so 5%. Great.
Do you like beers like Easy Jack from Firestone?
I honestly cannot say that I've had a session IPA.
You're so
that was the one
shit.
you just sent back.
Dan, you're lying to me right now.
I didn't mean to send it back.
You had to have done...
I just didn't order it. It was Mark, some guy out there. He should be. Everyone out there should be doing Gordon Biersch Pilsner right now.
Well, actually,
Pilsner
Justin told JP to order it, and then JP ordered me to take it in here.
It got passed.
I believe I schlepped the Pilsner keg in here tonight.
You
personally
brought the
hand delivered, so
I didn't even know it was on
immediately.
Yeah, I special requested it. Tasty.
It wasn't on the menu earlier. Otherwise, I'd have it.
That's the kind of loyalty factor we have here at the Hop Grenade for their guests.
That's a pay-to-play scenario.
Bring
I don't
your
like
own.
it.
Bring the beer, Dan, and then we won't tap it.
No, it's that. Do you know who our local?
We'll just look at it.
You know who our local rep is for Gordon Biersch?
Who's it?
Dan's daughter.
Yeah, she's been in the studio, right?
She's our local rep out here in the East Bay too.
She covers it all.
Yeah, is she SF too?
Yeah.
She works hard. I like that you make her work. Like, she could just inherit the Dan Gordon empire, right?
Oh, right.
But you're making her go up the ladder.
Yeah, I think the delusions of grandeur are floating out there in a way that's not. I have not sold the brewery for $1.2 billion yet. At that point in time, I'll let you know.
Let's say you don't sell the brewery. By the way, you're going to sell it. But let's say you don't. Is she going to take over your company?
No.
Will she run your company one day?
No, absolutely not.
Oh,
Why not?
It'll be sold way before
Is
that.
it not her thing? Or?
She's a girl,
August
Justin.
4th. There you go. There's the example.
She didn't graduate from Weinstefan, right?
No, she's no technical. She technically hasn't graduated at all yet. She's still got to turn her thesis.
So, oh really?
Yeah, at Cal.
What's her thesis on?
I really don't know.
Women in brewing.
Running the Gordon
It's
empire.
nothing about beer. It's, I think, minority education.
Don't you want one of your kids to take on your legacy and carry the brewery into the future?
Strap your boots on?
If they like it, but I don't think any of them are showing that level of interest in wanting to long-term be a brewer.
Are you sad about that? Do you want my therapist's number?
No, I'm okay with it, actually. I was in Germany for a duration when there was a huge consolidation going on, and a lot of the second-generation family members, well, they weren't second, they were probably like 20th generation, but to me, the father was running the brewery, and they were going to school, and then they went out there and basically decimated their brewery. Yeah, it wasn't fun to watch.
So it'd be worse to see your all your work go down the drain if they weren't into it.
Yeah.
But if they were into it,
hey, if my son goes to Stanford Business School and comes back and says, "Hey, I can do it better than you," that'd be great.
How many kids do you have?
3.
2 girls and a son?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. What do you think they're going to do?
Well, my son's an accountant.
Oh, he's already an accountant.
Yeah, he's in the real world.
Okay.
My youngest daughter is going to go to Cal also.
Yeah.
And the middle one is working for me in sales.
Mm-hmm. Did your wife make you hire her?
Yes.
That's basically how it happened.
No, actually, she probably was discouraging her. It's not always easy to work for your dad.
No, I would guess not. What happens over the holidays? Do you talk sales?
Yeah. And
you do. It sucks.
I learned from one of my buddies who has a fairly good-sized winery, and he had the same generational transition issues going on. And I said, how long did it take? And he said about 9 years before they could talk. And the rule was no conversation around the dinner table. That was work related.
It must be a rule, because you can't live your.
But my daughter and I argue about everything, so it really doesn't matter whether it's about brewing or
might as well be sales. Yeah.
Well, then at least then you can write it off, right?
When you go teach a class at Charlie's program, do you discuss hiring family members?
No, but we keep it on the lighter side. It's mostly about entertainment factor, right, Charlie?
It is.
You don't bring him in for lager expertise?
Well, actually, I don't bring him anymore at all because I no longer teach the very big class on campus.
And when he stopped, I stopped.
Okay. I'm winding down. So I said, I'm not teaching anymore. In that case, I'm not coming in.
Right.
But Dan would come and do his thing, tell them all about it, how a very successful company does its thing, and then we would go and eat momos in the local Nepalese restaurant.
Just the two of you take the whole class?
No, you have to order for at least 7.
Yeah,
we
take the TAs for the class.
Okay, you take the top.
And any salespeople that Dan brought with him.
Yeah. I've learned you can't go hang out with Dan unless you're hungry. Learned over the years. Yeah. All right, you guys ready for some Beer Jeopardy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Dan's favorite game. We only ever play it when you're on now.
I did not know that.
No, it's completely eliminated until you're around. And a listener actually sent in this week's categories.
Because they knew that Dan was going to be on.
Wrote the whole game for us. Nice. John actually is a great listener. He also hosts a bunch of our shows, our files on his servers.
Nice.
Because he's a nice man and he saves us money. Because we get thousands and thousands of downloads every month.
So he helps
offset that for us. And he really enjoys German beer, German culture, and loves every time Dan's on the show. So he sent me an entire game of Beer Jeopardy.
Yeah, pretty good.
Which I thought was really
You need to realize I've never ever watched Jeopardy until Christmas Day this year.
Really?
and because we were on, and I got all the questions right, luckily.
Wait, we? Who's we?
We, the brewery at Davis.
You were on Jeopardy?
Yeah, so I wasn't, the brewery was.
No.
And so that's the very first time I ever watched Jeopardy.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm a virgin when it comes to Jeopardy.
And your side won.
Remember to answer in question form.
Yeah.
And answer correctly is probably another piece of good advice.
That's probably the second
question form.
Yeah, I know. It sounds...
That's all right. He'll just
for a
stop you.
smart guy like you, I just blew your mind. I
There's
know.
no doubt about it. I don't get question form.
You'll get 2 tries. That's
It's
way
the
show
definitive answer when I do it.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. You want to meet our contestants? Here's what we're going to do. The first 2 people are going to play, and then the second 2 people you're playing for, right? Because you 2. So we're going to have 4 contestants total. You're 2 of them. So why don't we go to Bevo? You need to learn to spell, type.
Well, the producer
something
should know.
Is it? Is it epileptic brewer? Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how it's spelled, too.
Epileptic. She might be right.
I think she is right.
Epileptic brewer. You're playing against Dan Gordon and Charlie Bamforth. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's not comforting.
You're going to do fine. Remember, I don't think Dan's done so great the last couple games.
Really? Well, yeah, but the listener sent in questions just for Dan. I'm fucking boned.
He makes a good point. They are very German-based. Also, I think you did fine last time, but we screwed up the game, and all the questions were not accurate. So
that doesn't sound like you guys at all.
I know. You're right. All right, so Epileptic Brewer is in... let me see here. Hang on. Let me try to not drop you.
Yeah, I can never figure it out either.
And then we're going to go to...
You dropped him.
I can never figure it out either. We need directions written on the thing. Our new producer should do that.
All right, Epileptic Brewer.
I hear someone there.
You have to call back.
That's another one.
Thud Monkey is also playing. Hi, Thud Monkey. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Justin?
How are you, brother?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are you ready to compete against 2 of the brightest minds in brewing?
And Dan and Charlie.
I'm not sure, but the Dan is intimidating.
Yeah, you're going to do great. Don't worry about it.
I don't have 2 doctorates.
3.
Neither does Charlie.
He doesn't have 2 either.
Yeah.
Charlie, one of them was given to you.
Yeah, you didn't want one. I mean,
Dan had already subtracted 1, I see.
Right.
Yeah, he wrote that off instantly.
honorary, yeah.
I get a bunch of places to give me 1.
Yeah.
All right, Bevo, you got that line 1?
Yeah, he was still there. You hung up on him, but when I picked up the phone, he was still there.
Oh, that's weird. That's Epileptic Brewer. You there, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The other 2, I'm not going to talk to you yet, but we got Mike from Eugene. Mike, Dan's going to play for you. And then we've got Jesse from Paso Robles, California. Charlie's going to play for you. So those are our 4 contestants. We've got Epileptic Brewer, Thud Monkey, Dan, and Charlie. And we're going to play us some Beer Jeopardy. All right. Got 4 different categories. I'm going to try to help out here. I'll read them to you first, and then I'll show them to you so you can look at it. And Dan's going to start the game because he always does. Categories tonight are pioneers, vassals, monks, and nuns. That's one category. It's all one category. And then what goes in must come out. That's your second category. You might have to help me pronounce this one. The last 2 are in German, Dan. Tut's wie ein Deutsche?
Tut wie ein Deutscher?
Tut wie ein Deutscher. Do it like a German, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then finally, Deutschland über alles.
That's not socially acceptable.
No, not anymore.
No.
Should I change that one right now?
No. It's actually okay.
It does translate to Germany overall.
Yeah.
Which is, I can see why that's not socially.
Well, they just did release the 23rd edition of Mein Kampf.
They did.
Yeah.
Who's they?
I'm hoping for
I don't know who they
Who's
is.
buying
That's
that
what-
shit? Who wrote the
It
forward?
was annotated. It was annotated.
What does that mean?
It means they commented on the nasty bits.
Right. The ideas contained herein are not reflective of the producers or the publishers.
How about we just change that one to Deutschland Rocks?
Well,
all right. Like everyone loves Deutschland.
Deutschland Rocks.
Okay, there we go. That'll be our fourth category. You have 100 through 400. You're allowed to start anywhere you like on the grid. If you want to start with 400 points, you can feel free to do so. I will cross them off as we go. Dan, you have control of the board. Would you like to pick a category?
Since I'm the only one that speaks German here, I think I better do Tut wie ein Deutscher.
Okay.
And for 400, let's go for a large amount of points.
Tut van Deutsche for 400 points. Here, I probably should have pulled it up in front of me.
Tut wie ein Deutscher.
You don't pronounce the S, huh?
There isn't an S. I don't know.
All right.
You don't pronounce the S.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
There isn't supposed to be an S.
There isn't one.
Maybe caller 12 will tell us differently.
You do have to buzz in. Epileptic Brewer, what's your buzzer noise?
I don't fucking know.
Good enough. Yeah.
I'm just going to yell beep or something. Is that the idea?
Beep will work. All right.
Okay.
Thud Monkey, what's your buzzer noise?
It can't be anything other than thud, right?
That's fine. Thud is fine. And then you can just yell Dan, and you can yell Charlie if you guys want to buzz in.
Mm.
All right. Unless you want to make a noise, Dan.
I think you just did.
Sounded really disappointed, like I wasn't allowing you to have any fun.
This is the sound of disapproval.
All right, for 400 points. Because of this, the Oktoberfest in Munich occurs in September rather than October. Dan.
Well, it's better weather.
Yeah, that's pretty much right. The warmer and longer days in September. Dan gets 400 points. Bevo, I'm going to need help scoring this. Can you do that, even though you're high on
What's
Vicodins
better weather?
right now?
Ask your
Can do
question.
that.
Okay, 400 points to Dan, please. Dan, you self-control of the board.
Tut van Deutsche for 300.
For 300 points, this German command appears in many a drinking song to encourage consumption and enjoyment. And it means to drink like an animal or guzzle.
Beep.
Go ahead, Dan.
That would be Zupfa.
Zupfa is right.
There's a distinct advantage.
Technically,
to somebody who has studied in Germany.
Technically, beep was someone else's sound, so Dan rang in for someone else.
Was that my sound?
And not a question.
This is not fair, is it?
Clearly, the listener who wrote this game is a fan of yours. It's just one category, though.
Charlie's going to nail the next category.
Okay, let's do...
Don't worry, Charlie. You still have pioneers, vassals, monks, and nuns.
Oh, that's good to know.
It's all about nuns.
I personally don't know any nuns at all.
Yeah.
How about vassals?
Let's do Tut wie ein Deutsche for 200.
All right, for 200 points, everybody can buzz in. Remember that.
Wait, what was that last? I'm sorry, what was that last?
300 points to have another Vicodin, Bevo. This German city's council issued an ordinance in 1447 demanding that all brewers use only barley, hops.
Charlie.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Charlie.
Munich.
Yes, that's Munich.
Hey-yo. With the steel.
Or München.
München.
All right,
That's right.
Can I point of order here?
Judges, please.
I believe it was 1516, not
1447.
Yeah,
but they were ahead of the game, actually.
Which is really what threw me off on that one. But I'm going to let Charlie have that.
Yeah.
So because. Can you Google that one? Because the Reinheitsgebot was written in 1516.
Or is that the amended version?
It was the Duke of Bavaria.
He wrote his reference in here. He referenced it as Horst D. Dornbusch, 1997, whatever book he...
Yeah, but Horst is dead, so who cares?
I always quote 1516. I do. But, I was just so gifted to know that it was Munich.
Well, you got the city right, so we're giving Charlie 200
I'm just
points.
happy
Not
for
giving
Charlie.
me. I earned the damn thing.
Good call.
He's right in the running.
He's seen Jeopardy.
And you have control of the board, Charlie.
There you go.
If you'd like to.
the one on the left for 400.
Far left, he's going for pioneers, vassals, monks, and nuns for 400 points. Let's see.
You're going big.
All right, here we go. Everybody can buzz in. Don't forget. Oh, Jesus. This famous brewery now rests on the site where, in 1724, the Franconian monk named Corbinian, later Saint Corbinian, built a chapel that would later become a Benedictine abbey. Who is that buzzing in?
Thud.
Thud Monkey?
Thud.
Okay, Thud, go ahead.
Yes. What's better one?
Oh, go with your first one.
Weinstefan?
There you go. What is Weinstefan? That's right. The famous brewery now rests on this site. That is going to be 400 points for Thud Monkey. Thud Monkey, you now have control of the board. Pioneers, vassals.
Dan already studied there, for God's sake.
Do you want a point of order this one, too?
No, I didn't. I was restraining myself to make it a little even.
You knew. That's why that's why I laughed when I read the question, because even though it's a different category, I was like, oh, Jesus, it's about Weinstefan.
Yeah, I knew that right off the bat, but it's okay.
All right, so Thud Monkey has control
keep it interesting here.
of the board. What do you want, Thud?
I'm going to do monk, pioneers, for 100.
All right, for 100, you're skipping over to the 100, even though you did so great at 400. All right. Thought to be a pioneer in promoting craft beer in the United States, I was an Oregon publican who said, happy hour is for whores and amateurs.
Charlie, I think.
Charlie, go ahead.
Burt Grant?
Not Burt Grant. No.
Burt was from Washington.
He was from Seattle. There you go.
This one's from Oregon.
Yeah. Oh, beep.
Dan.
I'm going to go with the McMinimans.
It was not a McMiniman. No.
God, even I know this one. I'm stupid.
Don't are you?
I could give
Pretty
us.
stupid.
He was famous also for the Horse Brass Pub.
Yeah.
Well, that really helps me.
Right.
I have no idea.
All right, your time is up. Who is Don Younger, founder of the Horse Brass Pub? He was a very angry man, as I
he was kind of a dick.
As you can tell by that quote.
He's salty.
Happy hour is for whores and amateurs. Nobody got the 100 points, but Thud Monkey, you are still in control of the board. Or you're passed out. Thud Monkey, you're in control of the board.
Maybe he was calling in for Drunk of the Week and got confused.
He's now, all right, Charlie, you are in control of the board.
What's that second category in the left?
Second category is what goes in must come out.
Oh, let's do 200 points.
For 200 points, this is removed from hops to make Type 45 pellets different from T90 pellets.
Shit.
Oh, motherfucker.
I want to say that wasn't me that said that.
That's fair.
You know the words. You just didn't
more material, basically. There's a bigger removal.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. 55% of the vegetative matter is removed, as opposed to, say, T90, for example.
So in the pot game, we call it lumber.
All right, so that was 200 points for Charlie, please, Bevo. And Charlie, you're still in control of the board.
All right, well, let's take the same one, but let's take the 300.
All right, for 300 points, these are the hardness ions in water.
Yeah,
beep,
Charlie.
Beep.
Charlie got it?
What, you did?
Yeah. The main one is calcium, and the lesser important was magnesium.
No,
you got it.
There's no question.
He did beat first.
That's 300 points for
we
Charlie.
We can play it back, but he did beat.
Yeah. I love it.
It's getting competitive now.
I know. This is when
in a funk.
This is when it gets good. All right,
He's bigger than me.
You're still in control of the board.
He's bigger than me. Let's go for the 400 points.
All right, the big one in that category. What goes in must come out. Here we go. Listen closely. There are 230 kilojoules of energy per mole of glucose, and yeast only converts 61 kilojoules of that to CO2 and ethanol during fermentation. I am the remaining 169 kilojoules. Dan, did you buzz in?
Oh my gosh!
All right.
So it's not alcohol and carbon dioxide.
Yeast convert 61 kilojoules into CO2 and ethanol.
Jolly.
What is the remaining
More yeast.
169
More
kilojoules?
Yeast. More yeast.
That's not what I have here.
Beep.
Go ahead. Yes, absolutely. Epileptic.
I'm going to say heat because it's an exothermic process.
There you go.
Heat is the correct answer. What is heat?
You got it.
On
Yes.
the board, finally.
Energy.
On the board. All right, that's 400 points for Thud Monkey, or for Epileptic, who's clearly on Google.
Or the larger saccharides that are unfermentable.
I'm just fucking smart. That's
All right, then.
Dan,
also,
how many PhDs?
Did you know that one? Were you holding back?
No, that one I was thinking purely in chemicals, and I think Charlie was too.
I was thinking chemicals.
We're thinking chemicals, and it was a very creatively structured question.
Well, the important thing is, did you know that Jewel comes from
chemicals are good.
Jewel comes from a brewing family in England. You know,
is that right?
They call it jowls, but it's a good brewing family.
What is
anyway.
the update on the scores, just so we know what's going on?
Bevo, you're gonna have to give her a minute. She's worse than me.
No, Dan has 700, Charlie has 700, Thud has 400, and Epileptic has 400. Thud Monkey is back on the line also.
Oh, there you go.
Back in the game.
It's back there.
It's like Viagra.
Hi, Thud.
Hi.
Sorry you missed out on a question there. But Epileptic now has control of the board. You have 100 points left in what goes in must come out. All other categories are open as well.
I will stick with that category.
All right, we're going to close out the category. What goes in, what comes out. I am known as the Stammwürste in German.
Beep.
Go ahead, Dan.
What is the original gravity?
That's right, the starting gravity. That's 100 points for Dan.
Wow.
I think we need
that question not in the other category?
What is this?
Crap.
We need a skewed category for Charlie. I can come up with one right now.
We need a bubbles category.
Yeah, I got one right now. We can do it right now. It'd be amazing.
You do?
Sure.
I'll swap one out.
Can't go off
we could swap out Deutschland Rocks.
No, we're not.
I could try it.
Do you really have one though?
I could. I have information on my screen that I could. I know that Charlie would.
You know what
it's
happens
highly skewed.
if I end up not agreeing with the information?
Yeah,
but things get weird.
I don't care.
I start yelling.
I think it's fun. I don't really give a
This is
shit.
why I refused the producer job.
Hey, sometimes you got to go with the flow, baby.
I think
you know
last
what I mean?
time Dan was here, I yelled at Scott for an hour.
I think we have 5
Jeopardy.
minutes left on the show. The thing moving.
All right, who just won that?
I did.
Okay.
The guy who knows German.
You're in control of the board.
Do something non-German.
Yeah, come on.
We're running out of stuff.
You got this guy's over here.
Yeah, but that has monks in it. I mean,
You got this whole guy.
Monks are scary.
Deutschland über alles for 400.
All right, Deutschland über.
No, we got a different name for that category.
Deutschland Rocks.
Deutschland Rocks.
Yeah. See, I crossed it out. You didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, for 400 points, this was the cause of Bamberg's beer war of 1907.
Thud.
Who's that? Thud. All right, Thud.
The Rauschbier phenomenon?
No. I could see how that might incite a riot, because Rauschbier's not very good. Thud, yes. Sorry, Epileptic, go ahead.
A shortage of beer?
It was not a shortage of beer either. But
well, it seemed like a good guess.
There is another common thing that people tend to riot about. If it's not a shortage...
Immigrants!
It's
I don't know.
Let me have a go, Charlie.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Contamination, it was spoilage, or no?
No. There's one other thing that people like to fight about. No, Dan, no. It's so disappointing.
Politics.
Cost.
Taxes.
The cost.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're too late, Charlie, but it was the cost of beer. They wanted to charge 12 pennies for the price of beer, whereas the neighboring town only charged 10. And then there was a big fight about it.
Move.
All right, nobody got it. Dan, you're still in control of
We'll
the
go
board.
to Deutschland Rocks for 300.
All right, in 1871, as a condition to joining the German Empire under Otto von Bismarck, Bavaria required that all of the empire follow this law.
Reinheitsgebot.
Oh, Dan didn't ring in.
Looks like Charlie gets the point.
Oh, my God.
As a matter of rules, Dan did not buzz in.
True.
That's
Charlie did.
And he gets some points.
What is
Reinheitsgebot?
in question form, please.
What is
Das Reinheitsgebot?
Yeah.
N'est-ce pas?
That works.
No, that's French.
Yeah. That's German. 300 points for Charlie.
So, just so you knew,
yes, Dan.
I thought we were heading towards Prussia. Otto von Bismarck was the leader of Prussia.
Oh, I see.
That's where I was thinking it was going. And
but Prussia was the German Empire. He didn't say Germany. He said the German Empire, which I guess he should have said the Prussian Empire.
Yeah, they had different states, and Bavaria was his own kingdom.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's Otto von Bismarck, not Van Bismarck. So that threw me as well.
That
I had no
also
idea.
threw you, yeah.
Yeah, they're not from that.
Then I got too excited and screamed out the answer because I knew where they quickly shifted gears. And
Point of order, remember to buzz
Charlie.
in.
I've never done that. But he still won.
Actually, the Von and the
You
Van.
have control of the board.
Okay, let's go back to the monks and all those people with.
How about for 300?
300, yeah.
Okay, we're back to the monks, vassals, and nuns for 300 points. Man,
what's a vassal?
I don't even know what a vassal is. That's not like it's like.
Should we Google it?
It's a transvestite.
I did earlier. It's like landowner or something.
This one is the Daily Double. So it's worth 600 points. All right. I lived from 1250 to 1294, and while I'm credited by legend to have created beer, I was really just a super boozer and womanizer who staunchly supported the brewers' guilds of Leuven and Brussels.
Beep.
Dan has buzzed in.
Who's Gambrinus?
Gambrinus, that's right. King Gambrinus, 600 points for Dan Gordon.
I would have said Schlong.
As well as control of the board. You could close out the category.
Let's close out the category for 200.
Pioneers and all the other people.
Augustina Baruna.
Wow. I will celebrate my 500th anniversary of purity on April 23rd, 2016.
Not the bloody right.
I beeped.
You beat Dan? What is the answer?
Can we get John on the phone so we can fucking scream at him?
Pardon me, but doesn't this just back up the fact that it wasn't 1474?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it does. Somebody needs to throat punch John for all of the... All right.
Dornbush.
We have 3 questions left. Dan, you're in control. We've got... Toots wie ein Deutsch for Toot wie ein Deutsch for 100 or Deutschland Rocks for 100, 200.
Let's do Toot wie ein Deutscher for 100.
We're going to close out the category for 100. Let me find it. Here we go. I am a golden and Jesus, I can't read this word. I am a golden and crystal clear Obergarages beer.
Obergarages.
Thank you. There was also
who's going to get this?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That was also known as Hopfenpearl after World War II, and I'm only served in a Stange.
Beep.
Yes, Dan.
Yeah. What is Pilsner?
No.
I think I even know what this is.
I know that one.
Hopfenperle is
beep, buzz, whatever.
Who's that?
Oh, Obergarages. Sorry.
Epileptic.
Epileptic. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh.
In a Stang glass, that is supposed to be Rauch beer.
No. I should have heard Obergarages.
Oh, fuck. No.
Don't say it. You
already.
You can't. Don't say it. We got to give Thud Monkey and Charlie a chance to answer. Thud, would you like to buzz in?
Can I give him a hint?
It was the last beer that I just had. Did that help?
No, it's top fermented. Obergarages is top fermented, so that'll help you guys out.
Well, top fermented has got to be Hefeweizen.
No.
Thud?
No.
Thud?
Oh, I know.
Do you have an answer?
Yeah.
Go.
The Weissenglass.
Once again, it's Kolsch, guys.
It's a Kolsch. Come on.
Kolsch.
All right. Charlie gets it with Kolsch.
No,
you know what threw
but
me
he
off?
already gets it. We're giving it to Charlie's player.
Yeah, Charlie. Hopfenperle is always referred to as Pilsner, so I'm confused on this one.
John, you dick.
How many points was that one for?
300, I think.
That was 100.
100.
Charlie?
Kolsch is the diametric opposite of Anchor Steam beer, which is Anchor Steam is a lager yeast fermenting on ale conditions, and a Kolsch is the opposite.
That's a good piece of trivia
And
right
you know
there.
what? This show was worth it just to hear that.
Yes,
tidbit of
that's
information.
right.
Don't forget, we have the special secret Charlie category. Anytime you need a question.
There's only one question left.
You let me know.
There are 2 questions left in Deutschland Rocks for 100 or 200. Charlie, you're in control of the board.
200.
For 200, okay. Good call. This Bavarian festival follows Stark Beer Fest to begin Germany's 5th season.
Who is Iron Man?
Well, I only know one.
Okay.
And that's the Oktoberfest. That's the only one I know.
It's not Oktoberfest.
It's June Fest.
There is no
It
other
follows
festival.
Stark Beer Fest to begin Germany's 5th season.
5th season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Germans do everything better.
I know when Stark Beer Fest is. I've been to it a bunch of times. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
All right. The only thing after that would be something to do with like Maybach.
Yeah.
Springfest.
There you go. Dan wins. It's Frühlingsfest. Springfest. Frühlingsfest. That's 200 points for Dan. And Dan is control of the board. There's only one question
5th
left.
season.
For 100. I don't know.
I don't deserve those points.
Well, you call it Springfest, though.
But I don't deserve it.
Well, let's just take him away.
You're
then.
way in the lead anyway. I don't think it matters.
Take him away. Then.
Take him away. Let's make it good.
Give him the, was it Fuddrucker?
Fuddrucker. Yes, Fuddrucker, you get 100 points.
Fuddly?
This is the most important question of the game. Whoever gets this is a smart person.
Oh, is it mine?
Beer complements us, and there are over 1,000 varieties of us in Germany.
Penises. Close. Okay.
Beer complements us, and there are over 1,000 varieties of us in Germany.
Charlie.
Oh, I had turned down our guests.
All right.
Who buzzed in? Let me give them a chance, Charlie.
Yes, of course.
Did one of you buzz in Thud or Epileptic?
No, I answered the question.
Sure.
So no, I'll turn them back down. Charlie, go ahead.
All right. Just as pretzels.
Oh, good guess. Good guess. But no, there are not over 1,000 different types of pretzels.
Well, there should be.
But there, yeah, I agree with you.
Oh.
Beep.
Dan?
I'm going to go with Wurst or sausage.
Yep.
Sausages!
Well, it could only be one or the other, couldn't it? Right?
Yeah.
I would have thought cheese. I would have said cheese.
Bevo, what is the score of tonight's game?
Dan Gordon has 1,700. Charlie Bamforth has 1,100.
Oh.
Thud Monkey has 400. And Epileptic has 400.
All right, Thud and Epileptic, I'm so sorry you lost, but Dan Gordon and Mike from Eugene have won Beer Jeopardy tonight.
I'd just like to say 1,100 for a non-German trained
Good.
person.
That's pretty good.
Pretty
Just
respectable.
keep screaming Reinheitsgebot every other word. You'll get an answer.
I think you could have won just saying, what is Reinheitsgebot for every question.
A good 50-50 chance.
Right, yeah.
You want to try my question? See if Charlie would have gotten it?
Yeah.
My Charlie specific
What's your
question?
category
Let's do
name?
it. All right.
Charlie category?
I better get it.
The category would be notable people who play with balls. That's fine.
He's good at this one.
This person captained England a record 90 times and was the first player to win a century of international caps.
Billy Wright.
There we go. Oh, that was for 1,000 points.
Wow, he just caught up. Charlie just won.
There we go.
What else did you have?
I interviewed Billy Wright years ago.
Really?
Oh, really?
He's dead now. But,
did you kill him?
No.
No.
William Ambrose Wright. There you go. And he was the captain of England when England lost to the United States of America in the World Cup in 1950.
That was the only time we ever won, right?
The only time they beat England.
Or even got anything in soccer. We haven't come close. No.
Well, now we just hire the English.
Hey, my kids' team won tonight. So.
Oh, well, there you go.
Good.
It's just in.
Anything else, JP?
I can. I can do a bunch of stuff.
If you got one.
All right, sure. In the summer of 1889, this football club moved to its permanent home.
1889?
Yeah.
Oh, you were born,
That's what
right?
the internet's telling me.
That's not fair.
In Molyneux.
Oh, Wolverhampton
There we
Wanderers.
go. Yes. All right. I probably should have given this.
I didn't know we moved in 1989, but
1889.
Yeah, we did actually play in the FA Cup final that year.
See, there you go.
Oh.
Look at that.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, let me
I
tell
don't
you
know.
something that
There
you were talking about music earlier on.
You get the point now.
So there's a brewery in London called Logan Plant. Makes really good beer.
I got to interview this guy.
Yeah. Well, I interviewed his father. years ago because his father...
Stop it. No, you didn't.
Jimmy Page?
You interviewed Robert Plant.
Yeah, Robert Plant is a rabid supporter of Wolverhampton Wanderers football.
Oh, I see.
And I interviewed him, and it was 1988. And Logan was a small boy, and he was colouring in a picture while I was interviewing his father.
Wow.
And now, of course, he's a very successful brewer.
That's awesome. Makes good beer, too.
Yeah, he does. And he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And
handsome
I'll never
like his
forget
dad.
going into the ground at Wolverhampton.
Little Middle Eastern.
With Robert Plant. And this woman in the ground said, "Hello, Charlie, how are you doing? Are you all right?" And she looked at Robert Plant and said, "You need a haircut."
Wow. So I had the privilege of interviewing Logan at the Firestone Beer Festival last year, and I was so enamored just to be that close to a Robert Plant descendant. Because I'm a big rock and roll fan, and Robert Plant he's a rock god. Yeah. And here's this kid. He's got the same eyeballs as his dad. I respectfully asked him before the interview, "Am I allowed to mention your lineage in our?" It was on stage, and he asked me not to. He thought, "Let's just focus on the beer," and that was fine by me. But for me as an Uber fan, it was hard not to talk about his dad.
Yeah, and I take we've done it twice now. We've taken UC Davis alumni in London. And we've gone to Beavertown, and he's a great guy.
Yeah,
great
cool.
host. He has great beer.
And the beer's good, yeah.
And he doesn't talk about his dad at all.
No, I bet he does.
Which is weird because he named the brewery after him. Beavertown.
Beavertown. I mean, no, that's Beaver Hound.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry,
yeah, that's
my bad.
Different,
but moving back,
sorry.
And I said to him, because he had a music career himself.
Oh, he did?
Oh, really?
And I said,
that would be horrible.
You were. He said, yeah, but it was kind of boring. I wanted to brew beer.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can't be Robert Plant's kid and have a music career.
Look at John Lennon's kid.
You can't do it. Yeah,
No.
exactly. It's too much pressure. It's like being a Dan Gordon child and taking over the brewery. It can't be done.
You don't do it.
Right?
John Bonham's kid did.
All right, there are exceptions to the rule.
Oh, and his dad's dead, though.
And his dad's, there are exceptions to the rule. What do you think Christmas is like at Logan's house? It's chicks everywhere, right? It's just like
he's a happily married guy with kids, and last time I tell you, I mean, he was up and visiting Jamil in Heritage.
Oh yeah,
that's the last time I saw him in this country.
Oh, I didn't get invited to that.
He was taking his family off up to the.
Starting to sound like me.
To the sticks.
He asked that you not get invited.
Yeah. But the very first words that Robert Plant ever said to me was, "Charlie Bamforth, I love what you do."
No,
I'm not kidding you. It's true.
Stop it.
Because I used to write in the Wolves program, and
he liked your writing. Yeah.
And he liked the writing.
Wow.
So he knew more about me than I did about him.
So he recognized your name from the programs?
Yeah.
Robert Plant recognized Charlie Bamforth's name.
More importantly, someone reads the programs at sporting events.
Oh my goodness!
Also rated.
This is a big deal.
Great, wait. It really is. Also rated in the top 10 professors in the United States, Los Estados Unidos de America.
Yeah.
By Playboy magazine.
By Playboy magazine.
Charlie Bamforth. Yes.
There was a photograph.
Yeah, you have to go
my daughter took the photograph.
Wow.
And at the time, she was only 14.
You didn't get invited to one of the parties?
No.
No.
I was there, though.
Did you have a shirt on?
I know you worked hard for your doctorates, your PhDs.
Yes, the ones I earned, not the ones I was given.
But they're shit compared to Robert Plant telling you that he's a fan.
Yeah. Actually, I'd scheduled the meeting. He had to rearrange it, so he phoned up home, and my wife answered the phone. and he said, "Hi, is Charlie there?" And she said, "No, he's not here." And she said, "Oh, can I take a message?" She said, "Yeah, my name's Robert Plant." And she went, "I'm not that."
Yeah.
Is he a reference on your resume for when you're looking for the next?
No, only when I want to drop
wow.
names.
I'm enamored right now. I mean, he's a rock god.
Yes. That was a long time
ago. I don't know who we're talking about.
Do you know, I've published twice as many articles on soccer as I have on beer.
Is that right?
Well, there are a lot more games.
Yeah, there
are. So much foam,
Dan's very practical.
He's a German engineer, They're more to choose from.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being on the program. I appreciate it. We're going to take a break. You're welcome to stay, but I know it's getting late. We're going to eat some food and come back and screw around for another 20 minutes. But to have the two of you in the room with us together is just a lot of fun. So thanks for doing this.
Great pleasure.
And so cider from it's Wild Side, right?
Wild Side.
Okay, that's Dan Cider. If you find it, and
if you guys have names, just email me
for the brewery.
The brand, the IPA brand, and names. All the names have been taken, but you may have one.
There you go.
Go for it.
Hey, we got our hop grenade from a listener. That was submitted by a listener.
That's right, the graphics.
So you might end up with a
easy email address: dgordon@gordonbiersch.com.
There you go.
And lifetime supply of beer if you give me the name that we use.
Wow. You hear that?
I'm going to start working right now.
It's a contest without even being a contest.
Brand and
Lifetime
a name. Brand and a name.
Brand and a beer name.
Brand and a beer name.
Look at that. Yeah. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
So you stole the graphic from a listener and then trademarked it.
It was with permission.
No, it was donated.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Sure.
It was clear.
I was there.
It was, see? Dan was there. It was donated. Hey, you know what I'm doing in September, Dan?
You're going to Germany.
I'm going to Germany. I'm going to see Daniela. You're one of your favorites.
It's definitely my favorite.
And I'm going to go to Oktoberfest.
And she's married with kids now?
She is, and I might be staying at her house. Is that weird?
That's weird.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, you don't do that.
I'm friends with all my friends with all my exes. Is that weird?
It's not like it's his kid.
That's okay, but it's just a little awkwardness.
I shouldn't stay there?
It's a good movie theme plot, you know? There's a lot that can go on.
Rom-coms.
It's a European thing. It's okay.
It's only weird because I still totally want to bang her. But other than that, it's not weird. We're just friends.
Kate's out there.
As long as she doesn't wear like a men's T-shirt around the house.
She still looks great, I'm sure.
Oh, she looks fantastic.
Do the kids call you Uncle Justin?
You made Charlie laugh on that one.
You got to remember, I'm English. I don't get it.
Yeah, right.
I think they call him Daddy.
Daddy? Okay. Just call me Daddy.
Is she in Munich?
No, she's in Munich.
Great.
Her husband's vastly more successful than I am. He flies for Lufthansa.
Oh, Lufthansa.
Yeah, and I'm going to stay there. We're going to go to Kate's going too. So as if it wasn't
now
weird
that's the equalizer. You are now.
It's fine.
Oh, now it's okay. Yeah.
Now you're allowed to stay there.
Now it's fine.
Yeah.
So, Justin, you've heard the words Fati when you've been over at our house?
No. What is that? Is that Daddy in German?
Yeah.
I've not met her child yet, actually. So, but I'm going to Oktoberfest, which I'm really excited about. Beardy might go. He's talking about it. And I'm going to go to Austria while I'm there. Have you been there?
Yeah, I was in exchange in Österreich.
Okay.
Great place. I'm going
Salzburg. I'm not going. Well, maybe
we
I
talked
should
about this.
Yeah, we did.
Munich, Salzburg's close.
And I'm going to Prague.
Great city.
And I'm going to move, I can hop over to Pilsen and see the Pilsner Urquell brewery, right?
Do you like diacetyl?
Is that your Pilsner Urquell team?
I hate it.
Really?
You'll be going alone.
I hate it. I'm sorry, but
I don't know that I've made that association with the...
Yeah.
Really?
A close friend of mine is a senior... I recruited her to the brewing industry, and she is very senior in the current... SAB Miller.
And she knows about your feelings.
She served me a pint of Pilsner Urquell in London recently. I said, I can't drink that.
Oh, you couldn't even do it.
I can't drink it. I hate diacetyl.
Is there a lot of it, or you're sensitive to it?
I'm totally sensitive to it. And I'm sensitive at very, very low levels.
Yes.
But to me, that product is undrinkable. And yet, what the hell do I know? They drink more beer in the Czech Republic than anywhere else in the world.
$1.2 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, guys?
Dan, you like diacetyl in your beers, Dan?
I try to avoid it. That's why we do this thing called aging.
Yeah. It's a strange thing.
It's a great idea.
I thought they tried to put it in there on purpose in English beer, though.
Not the English beer I'm used to.
He called you out as a whole country right now,
I see.
he says.
Well, it's not a very big country, but it's a very special and diverse country.
That's one way to put it.
But all I know is I hate diacetyl.
Okay. Dan, I can't wait to get bought out.
We're both there together. We're going to do a package deal, bundle it.
Oh.
Gordon Biersch and the Brewing Network
done
together.
And then we're going to go retire with Charlie.
That might hurt your valuation.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Come and do all the things I do.
We're going to come do all the things Charlie does. I know you party.
Leaves plenty of scope, mate.
Yeah.
Invite Robert Plant along.
Yeah.
We're going to go party with Robert.
Yeah, we are. We'll do all those things.
And we're going to over to London and jam with the Stones.
You got to love soccer.
I will learn, if it means I get to meet Robert Plant, I will learn whatever I need
to
learn.
He's the director of the club now, so he's right in there.
Wow.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's right
cool.
Wow. Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's not on the main board of directors. He's on sort of an advisory board, and so he's passionate about it.
Wow.
passionate about it.
Dan, do you even listen to rock and roll? You're a jazz guy.
No, I'm a jazz guy. I'm a purist.
You don't have one rock and roll band that you like?
No, rock and country are kind of out of my zone, and it's kind of funny because every summer I get a hang with some pretty well-known country guys, and I couldn't even recognize them.
Really?
Yeah. Like I walk up to Zach Brown and say, "What do you do?"
I see. Yeah. And he goes,
you look like a lumberjack.
Who? And he goes, funny enough, so do you.
Yeah. Yeah. But the guy can cook. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Zach Brown has cooked for you.
Zach Brown is, well, we all kind of help out, but he takes charge.
Nice.
He's good.
What is this thing that you hang out with country people?
It's kind of a bunch of musicians, but I'm like the jazz clique, which is, kind of like bringing the minorities into the mix there.
I see. You're the affirmative action.
We are the affirmative action.
You're the
poor
token.
People.
Yeah.
And we back them up in some of the gigs, and it's kind of fun because I never knew that there was a big band version of some of these country tunes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know who would like to go along to that with you is Bebo. She's a country fan.
It's all guys, though. That's the only problem.
Well, then she'd probably be.
Probably would really like it.
She's kind of a dude.
Is Brad Paisley there?
No, but he was one time. He came as a guest.
I love him.
I didn't recognize him either.
He is on my
really
list.
tall guy that was on The Apprentice.
Donald Trump.
No. country musician.
Okay.
Big bass voice.
It's Blake
Very
Shelton.
funny.
I don't know.
Yeah, he thought the bass trombone was a pretty funny instrument. They all kind of.
I like that noise you're making, man.
That's a weird
They're all
looking
kind of
instrument.
grouped around the instrument on this music stand and said, "What is that thing?" I go proudly, "That's a bass trombone."
Mm-hmm. Charlie, favorite band? Artist, whatever.
No, not really.
Are you Beatles? Are you a Beatles fan?
Do I look that old? Yeah.
Yeah.
I come from the northwest of England, so when I was a kid in Wigan, 10 miles down the road from Liverpool, so we had the Beatles and the Searchers and all these guys. But my favourite band at the time was the Dave Clark Five.
The Dave Clark Five?
The Tottenham sound.
Yeah.
Glad all over, bits and pieces. And
Charlie, you are so straight-laced.
When I was a boy, I used to have 12-inch rulers and encyclopedias.
Yeah. That was
my thing.
I was totally going to say Sex Pistols.
Way after my time. After my time.
The Dave Clark
I'm not really good on the sort of the music front, really.
No. You read books instead.
I'm not boring. I just do other things that are exciting.
Like soccer.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Football.
When you retire from UC Davis, you'll keep writing about sports.
I will. I love writing about soccer.
Yeah.
I will be. People will hate me to say this, but I find it increasingly a chore to write about beer. I find it harder and harder all the time to put a different angle on it. But soccer, I write for a website called Wolves Heroes.
Yeah.
So if you go to wolvesheroes.com and I interview former players and so on. Somebody who sort of breathed in Wolverhampton one day, and they get to be interviewed for it.
Yeah.
And but I just love doing that.
I relate to this. So you've been doing this longer than me. I've been doing this beer thing for 10 years. I find it increasingly difficult to talk about beer. When I go to beer festivals and I meet people like Dan at Brewers, I want to talk about their hobby. Like I would talk about anything but beer.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You're like, I would rather talk about sports.
Yeah, and it's fascinating, and so I'll 30 years I've been doing it now.
Right.
And that will continue.
Good.
But I still got several book projects to write, and there is a book project that I've got to finish a fourth edition of a book that this guy Dan Gordon is supposed to be writing the foreword for. But I'm.
What's the book? Is it water?
No, it's called Beer.
Is it Bubbles?
Beer. Tap into the art and science of brewing. It's the fourth edition. He's going to write the foreword, but I haven't written the fourth edition yet.
You haven't written the whole edition?
No, so I've got to do it. But he'll.
Where can people go get Charlie Bamforth books?
Amazon.com.
Okay, there you go. And you click the Amazon link on our homepage even and get it that way.
And put in the name Bamforth, you come up all sorts of, frankly...
You have a book about carbonation. You have a book about water.
I don't have a book about carbonation or water. No, I have a book...
I thought you did.
No.
I thought you had a bubbles book.
I do. I have a foam book and a flavour book. It's a whole series of books on beer quality. The next one is flavour stability, freshness. That will be coming out sometime later this year.
Okay.
But there's a whole raft of others as well.
Yeah.
But, all sorts of stuff.
But this is going to be the last, whatever book that you're working on, it's going to be our last Charlie book, isn't it?
No, because there's so many projects I'm working on. I'm behind the times, behind schedule and so on. So there's quite a lot still to.
So we'll still get more publishing out of.
You'll get more publishing out of me, but
okay.
I'm, I was saying to my brewer, Joe Williams, today, I went into the class and I thought, there's only so many times I can tell these stories,
Yeah.
And, and it's.
Well, you can come in here and tell them forever. It's fine. You can take my seat if you want. And just come in here and tell stories.
No, I'm just, because I'm too shy to do that.
No, you're not. We take it out of you. We get you to tell these stories. Dan, you should write a book.
I'm going to be writing the foreword. That's kind of like the cover. I'm good at that part.
Yeah, get cool credits.
There'll be a lot of humorous snippets.
There's no royalties involved. You know that.
I realize that. That's my best. I'm the best guy in my price range. I'll tell you that. Whatever I do.
Yeah. I'm always the best in my price range.
But it was I just keep finding here. It's been like 3 years since you told me I'm writing the foreword. We're really progressing here.
You started thinking just bullshitting.
It was the baby step. Yeah, I didn't know if it was really coming to fruition.
Oh, it will. It will. One day.
We got another 7 years to go, and it'll be around a decade.
All right, the two of you, Dan Gordon and Charlie Bamforth, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you on a future show. Dan, I don't know if you're allowed to come in here by yourself anymore. We might have to.
No, we're a dynamic duo.
I think now we're a duo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to have you back like that. All right, you can go to GordonBiersch.com and learn more about Dan's brewery
or the Wild Side.
Or the Wild Side.
The Wild Side.
I recommend this cider. I'm going to go have another glass right now.
I appreciate that. And let's name the IPA and the company.
Give your email address one more time.
dgordon@gordonbiersch.com. No spaces, punks.
All right.
Anything like that.
If you got a good brewery name, if this project is in the works, and I can't wait to taste your first session IPA or whatever. It's so funny to me, but I also think you're going to do a great job. Like, you're such a great brewer. But it's funny because of how much we've talked about not doing it.
Well, we'll put some chunks in it or something just to make it really like a craft, make it a real craft beer.
One whole leaf hop in every bottle.
Yeah, something like that. Hand dosed.
Yes.
By a 6-year-old child to maintain, like they do with the cigars rolling on the legs of virgins in Cuba. We'll make up some kind of bullshit like that the people will believe.
And you do have to name the IPA itself something like Loophole or Sellout or something.
Yeah, that Sellout is kind of the meaning.
That one might be too strong, but...
Lupulin hole?
I love your sense of humor about it, and I think it'd be funny if it had something.
Well, you have to mock yourself a little bit.
Absolutely, you do. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. Thank you once again to Dan and Charlie for hanging out with us. When we come back, I don't even know what we're doing. We're finishing our Twitter game,
and we're leaving.
We're leaving.
Yeah,
a couple more things.
Chugging a boot.
We didn't chug a boot.
I think the boot got.
It's because I'm ill.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not going to be
the shoes. Do they stay or leave?
We'll be right back. It's The Session.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Hi, this is Brandon from Drake's Brewing Company, here to warn you about the impending apocalypse. This year, we're unleashing our Four Horsemen on Saturday, January 23rd from 12 to 6 p.m. at Drake's in San Leandro. In addition to the return of Apocalypse Double IPA and Black Label Triple IPA, we're adding the next two riders, Red Label and White Label. In case you thought Apocalypse Day couldn't get any bigger, you thought wrong. We invited more than a dozen of our favorite West Coast breweries to pour hard-to-find double and triple IPAs, including Cellarmaker, Russian River, Boneyard, Beechwood, and many more. Pre-sale tickets are on sale now and start at just $25. Black Label is limited to 6 bottles per person. Go to drinkdrakes.com for more info and brace yourself. The end is beer.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
This is Jamel Zainasheff, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com. Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com.
Hey, dude, you know what beer this is?
No, all the labels are falling off.
Yeah, or the ink is run.
Well, if it's the pale ale, you're good, but stay away from the quote-unquote Belgian.
Oh, man, this guy needs to get some grog tags.
Grog tags are reusable, write-on, wipe-off, commercial-grade bottle labels for your brew. The guys at Grog Tag are homebrewers. They wanted great-looking, sturdy labels for your bottles, buckets, carboys, kegs, and growlers. They also wanted a label that not only looks good, but can be easily removed and reapplied during bottling without that nasty glue residue being left behind. No residue, water-resistant, and ice chest approved. Grog tags stay on in water or an ice chest, and they stay legible. Visit grogtag.com to customize your label or coaster from dozens of different templates for free and see how awesome your bottles can look.
It's that pseudo-Belgian.
Yeah, we're getting him some grog tags, dude.
Grog Tag. At least your beer will look good. grogtag.com.
Segmented, demented, fermented.
It's the session.
I feel right now like I'm going to feel every morning on the Labruski cruise.
Once you get a mimosa in you, you'll be fine.
Oh, my God. I'm going to drink so
I'm
much
actually
now.
quite worried about that. Like,
Have your drink tickets away.
you know, they dock quite early.
On our last day, you mean?
Pull up anchor?
No,
what do you mean?
When you go to port, like when we go to the islands.
No. I'm never leaving the boat, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no.
You are such a turd.
You'll just be chumming the harbor?
That's why I have to room with you. You have to wake up. You have to wake me up.
Oh, you have a babysitter. That's smart.
No, that's the producer.
Right.
That's the producer's job.
You're producing Justin.
Right.
You know it's a great way to wake
You know I'm
me
going to
up.
wake you up with like buckets of water over your face.
That's not a great way.
Well,
that's not a great way.
I was thinking about my morning stiffy.
Oh, gross.
And beating that thing with a ball peen hammer.
What are you going to do if I just walk around the room with my stiffy in the morning?
I'm just going to get really uncomfortable and leave.
I mean, it'll be covered in stuff.
Warren, I might just end up in your and Candy's room, like, a lot.
Oh, that's fine.
I mean, I'm not going to, like, hang it out.
That's probably where
anything,
Justin's going to be.
It's going to be sticking out of my pajamas.
Stop it. I don't want to talk about your wiener. Ever.
I feel like if we talk about it, it won't be so bad. Like, it won't be so offensive.
I've known you for a really long time. It's always going to be bad.
It's always going to be offensive.
It's always going to be weird, and I'm never going to want to talk about it.
You've seen
Sounds like she wants pictures.
Right.
I don't want pictures.
You've seen my balls, though.
I have. Again, that was not by choice.
We did a lineup of me, Nate, and remember our old friend Natty? Me, Natty, and Sam, because we all have really gross, large balls. And we made Bevo look at them all in the Pacheco kitchen.
Actually,
just balls because you're a gentleman.
Yeah, like we didn't get all weird
Full
about it.
disclosure,
Yeah.
I've seen your balls more than once.
Really?
Do you remember the second time I saw your balls? It involved cross-dressing.
Oh, yeah, I came out of
Still not ringing a bell. So many times.
Which time?
Yeah, I came out of my bedroom one night wearing
You were drunk.
Daniela's panties.
And a leather skirt and like a sheer top. Like you were committed.
I did the whole thing? I thought
and
I was
then
just...
you danced around a little bit.
To what? Was it a good song?
It was like 4 a.m.
Eddie Mercury's.
I don't know.
Yeah. Tizzy, you were probably there that night. You just left before it got weird.
I know that. I know how to win the league. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You got to know when to leave the party.
Yeah, the cross-dressing thing. I didn't know about that. So anyway, yeah, those panties didn't cover those balls up very well.
No.
Of course, you don't know how to cross your legs when you got a skirt on.
No, I didn't know how to do
I get
anything.
that scene.
Yeah, I didn't know how to do anything.
It was so disturbing.
I just had a random thought about Tasty's funeral.
Well, hang on. Let me add it to the document.
It's going to be good beer.
Do I have to produce it?
No, my son will do it for me.
Like you want me to speak at your
It's in the
funeral,
budget.
right?
Yeah,
you want me to say a few words?
Sure.
Sure. Whatever you want.
Sure.
No, I want you to.
He's not going to have to listen to it.
I'm demanding it.
You know I'm going to be really sad, right? Like I'll be a sad person. I'll be crying.
Fine, but you got to liven him up.
Yeah, I'll make some
We're
jokes.
drinking before and after the funeral, so
we
guys will be. Hey, I'll be there in spirit, right? Or why do it if I'm not?
We can hook an IV up if you really want.
Assuming Tasty's going to go before you.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I am at the top of the list now, right? Am I at the top of the death pool?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Tasty's now number 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's number 2 for sure.
That makes sense.
Maybe number 3 now that Doc's divorced.
Oh.
But Doc, I thought, is at permanent bottom of the list because he can't die.
He can't. He's
had so many chances already.
He's too OCD to die.
Right.
I feel like Tasty's funeral has to happen before he dies. Like we have to do it with you.
We have to have a practice funeral.
You're the one guy that we want to do it with you first, and then it'll be done.
I'll have 2.
A
big one and a small one.
Exactly.
Well, or just the one,
and then later.
And then when you die, no one gives a shit.
That's true.
Because you'd never know, right?
Yeah.
We'd save a bunch of money. It'd be great.
No, I don't worry about saving money when I'm dead.
You're exactly the guy that we should have a pre-funeral funeral for, because you want to party, you want to enjoy everybody, and I feel like we should do that.
Wait, you say that you're the type of guy to have one.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Is there a type? Is this common?
Yeah. No, it's not. So, like you, for example, you're not a pre-funeral guy. Like,
no,
we will only talk about you like when you're gone. But Tasty, like you kind of want him around,
and not before.
He's more fun, I guess, is what I'm saying.
You're not wrong. You're probably right. But also, at the end of my funeral, I would just be like, "Do I go in the box now? What do I do? I think I have to go in the box."
Then we actually whack you.
It's weird hanging out the next time after you already had your funeral. What do you talk about?
It is.
It'll be my form of hospice. We'll have a party. So
Exactly.
We'll do it that way.
Exactly.
Like, I might as well go in the box.
How do you think you're going to go, Tasty?
Oh, I don't know.
Quickly? Like a heart attack?
Yeah, like, oh, man, that happened quick.
Wait, you'll have time to think? Man.
You should have told the doctor about that.
Yeah. Oh, man. Who's going to take over the BN when I croak?
Well, you got to leave it to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want it?
Sure. I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
Sure.
We'll make up a whole plan. It'll be great. You can just bail out.
Something for like $1.50.
I got money right now.
You got your $1.50?
The trick is putting in a trust. Otherwise, the government's going to take half of it.
That's true.
So 75 cents. I'm all right with that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm supposed to talk about Adam and Eve right now. AdamandEve.com.
Speaking of funerals.
Yeah, speaking of funerals. Hey,
go right for it.
If you want a boner at your funeral, go to AdamandEve.com. I have to read the things, right, B-Well? Didn't I send you stuff I'm supposed to read?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Usually starts out with, are you getting enough?
Yeah. I bet you'd like more, right?
I thought that one was for February, though.
Well, they have like a Valentine's Day one.
Oh.
And then a regular one.
Well, Valentine's Day one would be fine because it's coming up, right? And people listen to podcasts. There's a few weeks before we got Valentine's Day.
Do you mean Valentine's month?
Tasty, when's the last time you got laid? This is not part of the copy. This is me.
Be honest.
Well, I can't. I mean,
be honest. He's not listening. It's fine. Who is it? Not who is it, but
how's that relevant? I mean, I got an answer. I know. It's like
have you gotten laid this year?
Oh yeah, this year.
2016.
But no, I haven't. 15 I did.
You did in 15.
Many times.
Yeah.
How many times? 5?
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's good. What's that?
Pretend this is a radio show where we interview people. Right. 5 times? 10 times?
I got to vet these questions. What
are you driving
I'm not Bevo back there.
Vote Tasty 2016.
My client chooses to not answer.
Do you make everybody call you daddy when you do it?
Who's your daddy? No, I don't do that.
You don't do that. That's not your thing?
No.
Yeah. But my granddaddy now.
Who's your granddaddy?
Who's your granddaddy?
He's a gilf.
You are.
Some do like that, sort of.
They do.
Yeah.
Some.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There are a lot of daddy issues out there.
Oh my God!
Go to you don't get to third base without that.
They should rename Tinder daddy issues.
Yeah.
Like I went on the line tonight. I was like,
I think Bevo's the only chick I know who doesn't have daddy issues, and she doesn't have a daddy, so she should have daddy issues. But she's the only one I know who doesn't have.
Well, you got to have one to have issues.
Right. You don't have daddy issues, do you, Bev?
Oh, I took my headphones off. If you're talking to me, I don't know what you're saying. I don't want to know anything about what's going on in that room.
I don't blame you. She could take all my money, Bevo.
She could?
Yeah, well, she has so much.
She probably is.
Huh.
Just to sue me. I mean,
for sure.
If she ever wanted to cash in, she could take everything.
I think technically she has to be like an employee,
but she is of the Hop Grenade now. Actually, no, she's a BN employee too. She's not a contractor; she's an employee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, she could take. Could take everything I own: my house, my cat,
your house.
Your cat?
Kate's house.
Okay.
The only thing I really want would be the cat.
Kate's cat.
Kate's
BMW.
That's a lease. I wouldn't get to keep it.
No, you keep it till February of next year. That's it, though.
What about the VW?
Don't go over 10,000
The
miles.
Westie.
That's the thing I own that's worth the most money. That thing's worth like $25,000.
Well, your kegerator, you own that, and the system, the brewing system.
Yeah.
So you could probably have about $30,000 in assets.
Jamil tried to take his fermenter back from me a couple weeks ago.
Like he can't afford to buy a new one?
He wrote to me. He's like, "Hey, my distributor, they're brewing every week now. I'd like to, if you're not using it." So I lied. I was like, "Oh, I use it all the time."
Yeah, you sound like Tasty with the Pico brew. No, I'm using it. You can't use it.
Up on it.
You can't use it, Scott. I'm using it all the time.
You got a phone call, Beeb. Yeah, I didn't know how to answer because I felt bad saying. I basically said no. I was like, "You can't have it." He gave it to me though.
Because if he gave it to you, he's asking to borrow it, but with him, it's probably a long-term borrow, and you'll never see it again.
No, that's what I felt like.
You'll never see his fermenter again.
Well, it's Jay's fermenter.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I had it all upgraded and stuff. Like, it's not even the same fermenter. I brought it back, and they turned it into an ultimate fermenter now. Ultimate conical.
So you upgraded it.
So then just take all that stuff off and then give it back to him.
Here you go.
It's like a guy bring him with his wife, and then you go out with a wife, and you upgrade the wife.
Right.
Little snip and tuck, and little big booby. And then he goes, "Hey, can I, would you mind taking my wife back?"
Yeah, it's not right.
No. It's like, no.
That's why I didn't feel so bad about saying no.
Although you might say yes, depending on
what a pain in the ass she is.
Yeah.
I bet Bevo ends up getting
Speaking of pain in the ass,
a boob lift at some point.
No.
I don't think so.
What if the BN pays for it?
If the BN paid for a boob lift, I would riot. I would chain myself to the Bay Bridge.
You would chain yourself to her
There's a lot
boobs?
of things I'd like to have instead of a boob lift.
Well, yeah, but it's not about you. It's about, as always,
true.
It's about me.
Again, with me taking all of your money.
Beav, let me ask you a question. Are you getting enough? I bet you'd like more, right?
Actually, probably yes.
All right, well, AdamandEve.com wants to give you more. You can get 10 free gifts from Adam and Eve. First, you get a sexy surprise for you. All right.
Sorry, I pressed the button at the wrong time.
Even Bev's choking on that idea.
Second, a specially selected toy for Sam.
Okay.
And then third...
It'd be like Lincoln Logs.
Third, a little something that you'll both enjoy. Which... Yeah,
great.
Like Lincoln Logs. Plus 6 full-length adult movies on DVD. Do you and Sam watch adult movies together?
No.
Have you ever?
No.
Do you need to?
Not even once?
Not even once.
You
Well,
never-
that's not true. I watched that video at your house with a room full of people.
Oh, that's true.
And Sam was there.
Sam was there.
It's true. We watched "Stop My Ass Is on Fire" in our living room once.
I think I was a long time ago.
It was a long
time ago.
You guys have never done it on your. Do you watch it on your own?
No.
You don't?
No.
Why do you say it like that? It's not a bad thing.
Pretty normal.
I don't
never
have any desire. No.
Did they stop though in the movie?
What? Wait, what?
In the movie?
Because it was on fire.
Did they stop?
No, they never stopped. They kept going. All right, and then the 10th thing, free shipping on your entire order. And all you have to do is enter coupon code BNARMY, that's BNARMY. At checkout, you get 10 free gifts. So go check out adamandeve.com today, and you get all those things.
So I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Which one? You have the gift for her and the gift for him and then the gift for each other. Mm-hmm. What if there's 2 hymns?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be like...
I don't know if our code works for that.
Add-on note.
Well, you could order again.
Be a new army.
I have a feeling that the same things that can be used on a her can be used on a him. You know what I'm trying to say?
You have a feeling about
I have a feeling about it.
You're not sure, but you have a feeling.
I don't know.
But it seems plausible.
Let me Google some videos and let's see if I can... oh, my God!
There are things that don't work on everybody.
I don't know that to be true.
Yeah, that double-headed dildo would be the one that.
I feel.
What do you do at the other end of it?
Bevo, I think you need some pornography in your life.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm good, thanks.
Are you sure though?
You just said you weren't getting enough.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you did say that.
How about
I didn't say I wasn't getting enough. You asked if I would like more.
Oh yeah, that's true. How about on the cruise we have adult night?
No. Do you remember me?
I think every night on the cruise.
Do you know
is adult
how I
night.
spend most of my time?
Yeah, watching Frozen.
Watching Frozen or singing at church. That's
Dora the Explorer.
That's my bubble, and I like it. And
we know your type.
Well, let's switch from Frozen to Doc McStuffins.
Yeah,
I watched Doc McStuffins this morning.
We're going to watch the adult version of Frozen called Icicle.
I'm going to stab you with an icicle, and then the murder weapon and my fingerprints are going to melt away.
Stop! My ass is frozen.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
You should die.
Do I have to take this phone call?
Yes.
Girl, you don't got to do anything you don't want to do.
Is it this this novel that you wrote to
No,
me?
bro. Scroll to the bottom. You skipped the novel. That guy's gone. He gone.
I think it's a novella.
Jesse from Paso Robles, California, calling in for a drunk of the week. Hey, Jesse, what's happening?
What's going on, guys?
It's talking about Bevo getting some.
Yeah, or not enough.
Hey, it's the ongoing problem, isn't it?
It is.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. It's Bevo's ongoing problem. How drunk are you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the drunkest you've ever been?
6.5, maybe 6.8.
What have you been drinking tonight?
6.8. 3.
I had a Black Butte Porter. I had some homebrew, some Shallow Grave clone recipe. And I've had probably, 3 or 4 Manhattans, which isn't beer related, which I feel guilty of. But
well, you should. You're cheating on us, and that's rude. Although Manhattan did it have an orange slice in it, or was it just better?
Actually, no fruit. I was completely straight on this one. No fruit involved.
No cherry. That's nice.
Did you have all of that since we last talked to you?
Not all of it. About half of it.
I've never met you in my life.
Yeah, we talked to Jesse.
He was in the game.
Oh.
Yeah,
he was.
Unless there's
I was in the game.
You think there's another Jesse that lives in Paso Robles?
I'm pretty sure it's a common name.
Probably not.
There's at least 3.
I haven't met any of you, but I have met Tasty.
Yeah,
we have like 4 listeners. So
did he give you a cookie?
He did.
Yeah.
Silly question. A lot better than did you get laid?
Yeah.
I did not. Actually. It's Stacy's fault for sure.
Oh, you gave him the wrong cookie. You didn't give him the roofie one.
Jesse.
Yeah, I wasn't getting enough.
Oh, the one with the wink.
Right?
Yeah.
Keyword enough.
All right, Jesse, you're our drunk of the week.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Very good at it.
You did good at drinking.
Yeah. Good job, Jesse. I'm sorry. I have no time for this.
Should I just pick the Twitter winner then?
Slowly dying.
He'll listen with his head down on the table.
Right, you guys want to do a Stiefel? Let's drink a boot of beer.
Let's do it.
You ready, Beav?
Just one amongst everybody? We could do the game where the traditional way where the last person has to chug the whole last pint of it or whenever it gets to that
pour
point.
all this beer into my boot and drink out of it because I don't think we have a Stiefel here.
No, we do. We got a Stiefel right behind you.
That's a baby Stiefel.
Bevo only rolls deep with her Stiefel.
Right. 2 liters or nothing.
Someone threw up on our patio, and I think that's going to be me if I do a Stiefel. Yeah, someone threw up right out there. I went outside.
After the rain?
Apparently it was somebody's dad. Like, somebody came here with their dad and gave their dad a bunch of, 9% Belgian beer.
Yeah, when this guy's used to drinking Coors.
And he walked out and just, bleh, like a quick, bleh.
Yeah. Did he come back?
I don't know. He's not here anymore, but yeah.
He's probably driving home.
I wonder if that's our first Hop Grenade Uke. Aaron.
No,
even
it's
outside?
not.
That'd be amazing.
Well, we've had more.
There was a guy here on a show night who vomited into a urinal.
You vomited?
Oh, yeah,
I
and
saw
you got to
that.
spoon that stuff out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times, and I don't even understand that. Boys are gross. There's a toilet in there.
I know.
Yeah,
but they're standing there peeing, and then it happens.
When you're that way.
I don't care.
You're that way.
When you're that way. You're that drunk, like you don't.
male.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you just can't even.
Well, Bevo has a point. Guys are either stupid or gross because they will spit their chewing gum into the urinal. It doesn't flush anywhere. Or like the new like tobacco little packets that you put in your gum. Instead of loose chewing tobacco,
they
it's
have
like
pre-packed.
It's like little tea bags.
Really?
You'll see those in urinals all the fucking time. It's, nothing goes down there.
Yeah,
it's water.
Is that the new hipster thing? Packets of chewing tobacco?
I think it's just more like rednecks. You can hide it at work or some bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid.
What was our Twitter game tonight?
Our Twitter game was I wanted to ask the BN Army how Justin can get his groove back.
Oh, yeah. I need this answer.
All right, you ready for it?
Yeah.
Stephen Boyd said streaking through Concord.
Okay.
And you can get back into, fighting weight.
Someone's going to get their groove back if I do that.
It's true, baby.
Someone will end up in jail.
Liberty and Beer wrote, make it to number 1 on Bevo's list just in time for the Labruski cruise.
Oh, Bevo, that would give me my groove back. How dedicated to this company are you?
Not that dedicated?
Wrong answer.
Oh.
Bevo, how come you haven't asked me what number? How come you haven't asked what number on my list you are?
Because I don't care.
You do care. She's pretending she doesn't care.
She's saying she doesn't care.
But she wants to know.
Of course she does. She also wants... Never mind.
Tasty, what number do you think Bevo is on my list?
Your list?
Yeah.
2.
You think number 2? Beardy, what do you think?
Well, she's looking right at me, so I got to be nice.
You can't put her down at
right.
10.
Yeah, right.
No, it's fine. You're not going to hurt me.
Liar.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, am I adding up all the people that I've heard you say would be on your list?
No, I mean, I don't know, just guess.
I would say...
Why is Warren analyzing it?
17.
All right.
Chip, what number do you think she's
I think she's number 1. Only because of the history that you guys have.
Kiss ass.
Dude, she's totally number 1.
My God, that's
right.
so weird.
Because of Sam, because of how long you've known her, you've seen her grow and mature into a fine young woman.
Exactly.
Keep it in the family.
Do you remember how mad I got at you? Bevo came to the house one day in Pacheco and told me that she had a dirty dream about Sam and Schumann.
Yeah.
And I was so mad at her that it was Schumann and not me. Like, I was mad at her for weeks.
I had another dream that involved you.
You didn't tell me about that.
I told you that when we were at dinner.
No, you did not.
Yes, this was a recent dream. It was this month. And first of all, it was the one where it was part of my job to service everybody.
Oh, that's right. It was, yeah. She had I came in one day and by the way, I don't know why you tell me these things.
I was saying, we were out to dinner. We were at Slowhand, and I was like,
trying to move up
as I'm telling you, I'm like, why am I telling you this?
Yeah.
Why am I talking?
Yeah. It was part of her job. And the cool thing is that it was okay because it was a job. So, Sam was okay with it.
Right.
But then it became but then in my dream, it became a whole huge thing because it was considered cheating if I was trying to get mine.
Right.
But it was fine for me to do everything for everybody else.
If we were getting hours.
Yeah, okay.
See, you hate yourself. You don't want to give yourself...
No, you want to talk about who I hate right now?
You could just put him at the top of your
Bevo
list.
is totally number one at the top of my extracurricular list.
Of course.
If you're never going to get a pass, just let him have
it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yay.
Are you proud?
I'm something.
You don't feel good about it?
Don't you feel better now you got that off your chests?
Yeah.
My back hurts, and I only have one chest douche nozzle.
Not from this view.
All right. But it can never happen because it won't be as good as I think it's going to be.
Of course.
No.
Well, that's most fantasies.
Yeah.
It's just that's just what happens.
Right.
So it can never happen.
All right, shall we continue?
Yeah.
Eric Milan says...
Wait, what was the first answer?
Well, the first answer was streaking through Concord.
Okay, second one?
Make it to number one in time for the cruise.
All right.
Eric Milan says, listen to the first 5 episodes of the Sunday session. That Justin had hopes, passions, and dreams.
He did. It's
Yeah.
true. I liked that guy.
Yeah. He was all right. Austin writes, be fabulous. Take care of yourself. Get a haircut. Put on some makeup. Wear clothes. Highlight the beauty inside of you.
Oh, that one's almost realistic.
Well,
get a haircut.
You said you don't look good with short hair.
Dress myself.
Especially the makeup.
Well, I can attest he shouldn't have short hair.
No, it's not good.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not nice.
No, that is true.
It gets worse.
It gets worse.
It's very
like
broy.
Whatever this is, it gets worse.
Oh.
It's very broy.
Yeah.
Justin81 says, selling off the BN for a mint. That would be nice.
Dude, that
For
would
a mint?
totally get my groove back.
Like a
after dinner mint?
Yes, like an after dinner mint.
Oh, I thought we were talking about like a cool mint.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Micah Concord says, Micah Connor.
I love Micah.
Micah says, get back to the roots, start doing lunch meat again, which I approve of.
Yeah. Maybe you're missing some meat.
Maybe you are.
I think that's the opposite of what I need.
Well, whatever. The old prospector writes, hire Charlie Bamforth to be your personal life coach and change your hair conditioner.
I have great hair conditioner.
You just don't use it all that often.
He has it.
I'm not sure I could handle Charlie as my life coach because he'd be right and I'd have to listen.
Yeah. That's what part
With
of
3 PhDs.
That's the second part of coaching. Is number 1, you get the coaching, and 2, you apply it to your life.
That's what my therapist said. It's
weird.
The other part of healing is listening to me.
Right.
No.
Barley Boy asks, when did he ever have his groove?
Oh, come on. I clearly had my groove. Look at all I've done.
And then,
look at it.
Last but not least, Blobberglop says, charcuterie served on a gun-groin tattooed stripper's abs with Steel Panther playing a private concert with unlimited blow.
Okay. If it wasn't a permanent fix, it would at least be a fix for that night.
Yeah.
So,
sure. Well, just because you get it back doesn't mean you can't lose it again.
Wow, that was a home run.
It's onto your soul.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know whether to give it to the top of Bevo's list or to the real one.
Well,
you shouldn't give.
You said it yourself.
Yeah.
You
there is a
shouldn't
real one.
give it to the top of my list.
Because
Well,
you shouldn't.
Which one would be one night of ecstasy?
just because.
Oh, good call.
That's not.
Take the drugs.
It's true.
Not
Take the
who I
drugs
am.
because Bevo will be 13 seconds of ecstasy.
Well, no, but it's never going to happen.
And
So
then
you
a
always
lifetime
have
of disappointment.
Then every time you come to work, you got to look at her all day.
Yeah, and then I'll just be real annoyed
Sorry, I
because
was
13
so,
seconds is going to do nothing for me.
See, you never thought you could be more annoyed by me.
The chat room is saying I need a raise.
That's what we're talking about.
Or a lawyer.
Monetary.
A new kind of raise.
All right, Blobberglop.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, guns and stripper guns and blow.
Stripper abs and guns and things.
And blow.
Good work, Blobby.
All right, well done, Blobby. Hey, don't forget about our friends over at Beersmith. You can go to beersmith.com right now and get your free 21-day trial of the Beersmith brewing software. Why 21 days? I don't know. It doesn't take that long to fall in love with that software. So you get a free trial you can use on PC and Mac. Everybody uses it. Everybody's doing it.
Yes.
Everybody. Everybody's doing it. Go to beersmith.com right now and check it out. I watched Boys in the Hood this weekend.
Oh, really?
Did you see it yet?
Why?
What do you mean yet? It's been out for like 25 years.
I know, but I hadn't seen it. Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
You didn't go to see it in the theater, though.
No.
You...
I'm going to get shot. Boys in the Hood are always hard. I don't know if you knew that.
I did know that. It's pretty good, right?
It's a great movie.
I didn't see the ending yet, but I'm pretty sure Eazy-E dies.
You mean Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Oh, not Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
Gosh, you are an
different
idiot.
movie.
That's Cuba Gooding Jr. and Lawrence Fishburne and Ice
those
Cube.
are different movies?
They're different movies.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Well, they're set at the same time.
Which one did you
see? No, I saw Straight Outta Compton.
All those boys look the same.
Joke ruined. But Ice Cube is in both of them.
Oh.
Sort of. Is he? No, he's not. I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it, though. I heard it's really good.
It's good.
But I guess like none of the actors got nominated for Oscars, and now everyone's complaining about white people. And
this racism.
Was it really? Never mind. I'm not going to say that out loud.
What? It was good. It was a good movie.
No, I believe it was.
I didn't see the end, though. But
was it good or was it authentic?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I remember it being. It seemed authentic.
Yeah.
To me, it's a lot about Eazy-E.
Sure. Well, he was kind of the backbone of it.
He was the guy.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the rest of the band did such a good job of making him look like a douchebag later on.
Yeah.
That it's hard to believe that he was the guy, right? That he was the brains, but he was. But that's also what I think screwed him up. Is he took all the money and made some bad decisions. It was a good movie, though.
Is he alive?
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
That
fool dead.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought he was alive.
No, died of the AIDS.
Oh.
Yep. Not going to happen to you, Bevo. You're
probably not. I am considering.
I don't want to jinx you.
Going to Africa next year for a couple of weeks.
You are on a mission.
On a mission.
You could still get it.
Yeah, like build houses and put in water filters. Yeah.
Why don't you go to Disney World with us?
I don't have to pay for this trip.
Oh. Get lost on your way to the airport.
To pay with your.
Well, I have to pay.
Your help.
I would have to pay, but whatever. Be sponsored.
You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. That's not what you do.
No, I would love to do that.
Once you've done the beer cruise, you're going to do that
I went to Panama and did that. Like, I've done this before.
You did?
Yes.
Oh.
Why Panama and Africa? Why not L.A.? There's plenty of people who are homeless here.
Yeah. Did you get your hepatitis vaccination?
Here you need building permits to just put up a house.
I had to do like a bunch of.
You actually have to know how to put something together.
Like yellow fever and typhoid and all this other crazy crap.
When you did your first mission?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought only Mormons did the.
They do like year-long missions where it's like the whole thing. This is just like you go and we helped build houses and like work with a. I'm done with you. This show needs to be over.
I did it too, Bevo, growing up. I went to Guatemala and Honduras a couple times.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were nice.
Well, I was.
He's not nice.
I said when I was growing up. This was like before 2000.
He just went.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
They let assholes into Honduras, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Not just out of.
My church is going to Honduras this year.
Case in point.
It's actually case in point?
That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got it right then.
Great.
All right, what do we think? Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
We were done quite a while ago.
Unless there's a Stiefel around.
There is.
All right, let's end the show.
Yeah.
It's 10:20.
All right, everybody. Hang on, I'm going to die for a second.
Having a smoke.
Sorry.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah.
You need a nicotine patch so you get your nicotine while you're
on the show.
Can't smoke, yeah.
I do a lot of stupid things. Thanks for everybody.
Thanks for everybody.
Thanks for everybody.
And thanks to Dan Gordon and Charlie Bamforth for being on the show tonight.
Awesome.
Yes.
Hopefully we did them justice by doing a great show.
Here's a well, never mind. I'm not going to say it.
No, well now you got it.
You said
Well, okay. In the chat room,
yeah,
someone is dropping some knowledge.
Yeah.
Blobber was a full-time minister before he had kids.
Really?
I'd believe that.
Did we just die? What happened?
I don't know.
It got better. Sound got better.
Really? He was a minister.
So was his wife.
Is that how they met?
I don't know. This is real time. You're getting the information as I am.
That makes sense. All right.
That makes sense.
All right.
Okay, let's get out of here. Seriously, stop.
Yeah.
I know, I'm trying.
Sounds like a Tinder story to me.
All right, next week we got Drake's on the show. Don't forget about our SF Beer Week events here at the Hop Grenade. You can go to thehopgrenade.com and check it out. We got great events. Tuesday night's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some amazing beer on tap. Plus, we're doing the Brewers Roundtable right here on the air. So you're going to get to listen, even if you're not in Concord. But if you are in the greater Concord area, come on down and hang out with the brewers. We got brewers from Society, Sante, Monkish. Highland Park. We were going to have Julian from Beechwood, but he bailed on us again. All right. You ready, Jeff?
Yeah.
Get us out of here. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Dan Gordon and Charlie Bamforth joined us in the studio to chat about cider, IPA, and breweries that are selling out. Go to gordonbiersch.com to hang out with Dan, and for more info on Charlie, buy his books on Amazon, would you? Merge your love of Disneyland with your lack of engaging podcasts, and go to earsuppodcast.com as JP, Terrence, Bevo, and Taryn talk about all things Disney. Go check out Moscow's Hop Cartoons over at hoplifestore.com. For some good beer insight and homebrew info, follow Nate Smith and Nathan Homebrew and Mike McDowell at Tasty McD. Warren is also trying to be hip over there at Another Beardy. Speaking of Warren, he was here again somehow. Production director on the session has been Push Eject. Today's show was very, very loosely produced by Justin Crossley. JP was really glad the boot didn't come out. Bevo was looking on Etsy for a bundling board to bring on the Labuski cruise.
Frumpy shirt.
And your host was Justin Crossley. Be sure to find the burning.
JP does great.